Rise and shine. Come on in. Come on in. Hit the like button as you come on in. We got a lot to talk about. Did I say a lot? Got a lot to talk about. I got a lot of notes. I'm going to try my best to get through them as I walk and talk. So come on in. We got the subscriber mode only today because y'all know it get crazy. It can get crazy out here, especially when I do my walk and talk. People get in their feelings and don't know how to act, but that's all right. We're going to try to do something a little different today, or something we haven't done in a long time. So come on in, like the video, like, share, and subscribe. Come on in, come on in. Got a lot of hot topics to discuss. Is the U.S. in a recession? We're going to talk about the USA, the current state of the economy. Your thoughts. Do you think it's that bad? Have you seen worse? Is this the worst you've seen? What's different this time around? It's a number of people who are like, we've been in a recession. Like, listen, I was listening to another content creator yesterday, and he was like, if you ask me, we've been in a recession since 2012, but that's another live. So some people feel like, we've been in one. Some, his co-host said, listen, I feel like we've been in one since 2000, since for 2 years now. Let me know. What's a recession? Like, what does it look like? Do you understand the makings of a recession? So that's what we're going to talk about. The numbers have been released about, like, the stock. The stock has taken a big drop. So what do they call them? Magnificent Seven. I guess the top stockholders have all taken a nosedive down when it has come to their stock, including Mr. Elon Musk. So we're going to talk about it. So come on in, hit the like button as you come on in. The stock is down. Everyone's talking about it. Like, when you go on the internet, and if you follow things pertaining to, like, politics and things like that, that's pretty much going to be up and down your timeline. People reacting to the current stock market. The stock market is, it's not good, but President Trump said, he's not surprised at all. So we're going to get into his comments. Even as of this morning at 8:34, he's made a comment. So right before I got up to get ready for this live, President Trump went on to Truth Social and made a comment. So we're going to get into that. But the stock market is down. I want to share with you what that means. So the Magnificent Seven are the top holders, businesses that have stock. Excuse me. And they're all down. We'll start with Microsoft. Microsoft is down as of yesterday by 2.36%. Tesla's down by 5.47%. Meta is down by 8.96%. Apple is down the most by 9.25%. They've lost $255 billion in market value. Alphabet Inc. is down 3.92%. Nvidia Corp is down 7.81%. And Amazon is down 8.98%. Amazon is the second largest stockholder who have taken a loss. So first is Apple with 9.25%, with $255 billion market value loss. And Amazon down 8.98%. Not quite sure yet what their monetary loss is for Amazon, but Apple's loss was so huge to where, it made headlines as far as with people talking about exactly how much they have lost. Ooh, let me stop here in the shade on my walk and talk. Come on in, hit the like button. Trump said that the market and stock will boom as a result of his changes. So I done told y'all these numbers, but he like, listen, Linda, listen. Don't worry about that. Don't listen. Just follow me. Just rock with me. Just what they said. Michael said, I just want to rock with you. Listen, Trump said, rock with me. Y'all rocked with Michael. Y'all rock with me. Rock with me. I'm going to lead you to the water. I'm going to lead you to the water. Just rock with me. It is on record that we are experiencing, according to the media and what they are putting out there, I will add, we are experiencing the worst crash for the U.S. stock market since the pandemic. So, y'all, the pandemic was rough for like most people, no matter where you were in the world. I have vivid memories of what the pandemic was like, and it's definitely going down in history. It's going to be that story that you say, gather around, kids. I got a story to tell you, and you'll be able to talk about what your experience was like in the midst of the pandemic. So that started in 2020. I would say people, pretty much up until now, like we'll be able to kind of talk about like within the past 5 years, the changes and how we've had to move and navigate in the world as a result of the pandemic. So the Dow Jones says the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are all down, and these are and that we are in a stock market Armageddon. We are in a stock market Armageddon. How many of you play around with the stocks? Some of you like, I dip and dab, nothing too deep, nothing that's going to kind of make or break me. But a lot of people like play, play heavy in the stock. So this certainly has their attention. Even what they say, Warren Buffett, has come out and even spoke on it and shared his thoughts pertaining to just what's going on. Warren Buffett's kind of up there in age, so there's some of this, that he's lived through, where he's like, like America's resilient. We will get this. That's the thing. Don't count America out. Don't count the USA out. And I'm definitely one of those people who don't count our country out, if you cannot tell from these lives. Come on in here, hit the live button. Hit the like button. Trump said he's not surprised by these significant, the significant drop in the market. He says, quote, the U.S. was a sick patient that needed to go under surgery, and we are on the path now to becoming a booming country. It's going to be amazing. So he's like, listen, we had to do. It should have been done a long time ago. But to elaborate more on his sentiments on what's going on and how we kind of late to really taking action, let me pull out my other phone. I want to read out his post as of this morning that he made on Truth Social. Yeah, because he put this out. This was as of today, 8:34 a.m. So I'm in the USA. I'm in Georgia, East Coast time. Good morning, rise and shine. Welcome, honor students. Everyone hit the like button. Hi, Yvonne. Say good morning, everyone. Come on in and hit the like button. Come on in. Come on in. Don't be shy. I do have subscriber mode only 5 minutes. I normally don't have it on, but it gets crazy over here. So if you subscribed, give it a minute and you can, make your comment. China has been, so this is what Trump woke up and he posted this morning at 8:34 a.m. He posted on Truth Social, China has been hit much harder than the USA. Not even close. They and many other nations have treated us unsustainably badly. We have been the dumb and helpless whipping posts, but not any longer. We are bringing back jobs and businesses like never before. Already more than $5 trillion of investment and rising fast. This is an economic revolution and we will win. Hang tough. It won't be easy, but the end result will be historic. We will make America great again. Come on, somebody. Y'all come on in here, hit the like button. Did y'all hear that message? I'll read it again, and I'll probably read it again later as more people come in because it's still early. We're in the first 10 minutes of this live. We are the early birds out here catching the worm. Come on in here. Trump has made a comment on his Truth Social this morning, just in less than an hour ago, because it's 9:31 a.m. where I'm at. He made the post at 8:34. Come on in. I'll let you know. I'm going to share what Trump has to say about what's going on. Trump posted on Truth Social today, April 5th, 2025 at 8:34, quote, China has been hit much harder than the USA, not even close. They and many other nations have treated us unsustainably badly. We have been the dumb and helpless whipping posts, but not any longer. We are bringing back jobs and businesses like never before. Already more than $5 trillion of investment and rising fast. This is an economic revolution, and we will win. He has that in caps. This is an economic revolution, and we will win. Hang tough. It won't be easy, but the end result will be historic. We will make America great again. We will make America great again. So this is a message from, if you are a U.S. citizen living in America, this is a message from your president, Donald J. Trump. We will make America great again. What does that mean to you? Do you believe it? Do you feel like we are on the path to becoming great? And do you feel like we ain't never been great? What are you talking about? I've heard people say that. They're like, what? Like, I never felt like, this country was great. Like, what are you talking about, sir? What are you talking about? So that's on that. So let's get into it. Come on in. More of you have come on in. Hit the like button. I have some updates for you. Lots and lots of updates. I have my notes. I didn't want to just sit and go over it. I want to get my walk in, but I may stop more and rest some. This is a nice breezy spot in here. Come on in here. Let me get my notes together. So stock is down. Everybody, it seems like everybody named mama stock down. Big people, little people. Big bank take little bank. Okay, big bank out too. Everybody down. Everybody is down bad. Talk about a reset. How many of y'all heard conversations centered around like reset, global reset? We need a reset. We need to listen. We just need to start all over. Is this the reset? Is this the reset? Do some of y'all feel like, listen, Sheik, like I done lost it all. Like, I really feel like I'm just starting over. I done lost my job. These kids working my nerves. This man, Lord Sheik, that's going to be a whole nother type of live to talk about what this man doing or ain't doing. Like, what's your situation? Because it's hard out here for many, many, many people, many Americans. That's my focal is us, our people, America. I'm in the USA. It's hard out here, but I do know it's hard out here for people in other countries, regions. Like, it's just hard. And what takes place over here in the USA does impact the world. It impacts the world. China did react to Trump and, what he did as far as when it came to like increasing tariffs and things like that. He reacted to the whole reciprocal tariff by implementing their own reciprocal tariff at 34% onto the USA. So what they say, battle of the tariff wars, this is what you're witnessing. That whole, your kids, you tit for tat. You do something, then she do something, back and forth. This is where we're at. The back and forth. It's like a ping pong match, and you watching, you seeing, okay, who gonna make the next move? Whose move gonna be the winning move? Whose move gonna put a hurting on the next person? Like, this is where we at. Trump came out and was like, all right, then bet. This is how they want to react. He quoted as saying, China played it wrong. They predicted they panicked. He said China played it wrong. They panicked. The one thing they cannot afford to do. He said this yesterday, April 4th, 2025. So he's like, listen, China, yeah, I mean, you came out, you said your little something, but that wasn't the right move. That's not really how you should have reacted. So there's stats out there that shows the U.S. economy added 228,000 jobs in the month of March, and unemployment rate is at a 4.2%. So here's the thing I want you to take into an account with these numbers. These numbers were prior to, these numbers were based on data that came about from things that happened prior to the tariff, April 2nd. So this is like pre-April 2nd announcement and changes that have now taken place since April 2nd. Does that make sense? So people are saying, hey, yes, these are the March numbers, but a month from now, when we look at the April numbers, it's not going to be that nice. It's not. Right now, from what I'm seeing from my research, good morning. Hey, what's up, Jason? Terry, what's up? Terry said, tired of the emotional immaturity of people. Listen, it's a lot of things for us to be tired about. We're going to talk about it. Put it in the comments. Talk your talk. Everyone, welcome. Just be respectful. Ned, what's up? Come on in. So they were like, right now, the numbers that we are seeing from job losses it hasn't been this low since the pandemic. Where people weren't working and things like that. That's the last time. And prior to the pandemic, the next one was, I think they said like 2009. So we're seeing some record numbers, not in a good way. We're not seeing them in a good way, but child, we are seeing history. History is being made. History is being made right now, whether you are here for how it's been made or not. It's been made, and this is definitely a time to remember. If you are alive right now and you stick around with us and here for 15, 20 plus years, like, we are going to have a heck of a story to share, because this is a lot going on. This is history. Like, that stuff you read about, the great, like those mile marker things that took place and we learned about, like in the history, in history class, reading in the history books, watching on the y'all think pandemic gonna make the History Channel? Do y'all think pandemic is gonna make the History Channel? Will President Trump make the history? Listen, we better be on the History Channel. Y'all remember they came out the documentary of Freaknik? Freaknik in Atlanta. And that's like a historical event for the black culture, y'all, for those of you who don't know. And they created, like, there was this documentary, and people was like concerned about whether or not they were going to be in the documentary, because at the time when you live in your life, you just living and you're not expecting for that to be a historical moment. Like, that's not how we walk around moving that, okay, I'm finna do this, it's about to be a historical moment. You do have some people who think that way, and now we're in an era, everybody got their cameras on, and it's just like, I'm capturing it, so people are more so forward thinking. But back then, child, it wasn't no internet, you recording on your phones like that. Child, them people was running scared. I done heard divorces and everything, because that man that looked up and seen his mama tooted and booted. I mean, not seen his mama. Some of them seen their mama tooted and booted. But he done seen his wife. His wife with her JD, with her doctorate, her master's, her law degree, tooted and booted on the Dr. Freaknik documentary on Amazon. So what I'm saying, I'm saying all this to say that we are living in times that are historical, that I'm not going to say likely, this will be in documentaries. You may make a document. You may make it to a documentary. Today is April 5th. Today is where everybody named people who are in their feelings out there. I guess everybody except for the people that look like me, because they said, listen, I ain't getting on I'm not doing it. April 5th is the day that everybody going and walking outside and talking ain't talk. Today is the day. Remember Freaknik? Okay, this is today's Freaknik. Remember the documentary that came out, 20, 30 years ago, however many years ago? Because the Freaknik was a thing when I first moved to Atlanta, and then it kind of ended shortly after. So I came here in like 96 from California. So I was a kid. I would hear about a Freaknik, but I never experienced it. Child, this is today's Freaknik. Meaning that you may be on camera footage and it may be shown to the world years down the line, even today, but like years down the line, people are going to see it. People are going to see it. So today is that day. Let me try to get into some of these comments. Y'all coming on in here. Like the video as you guys come on in here, please. Ned said, Trump attack on media got me concerned for the future of our education. Terry said, definition of crazy, doing the same thing over and expecting different results. History repeats itself. That part, yes, that's the definition of an insanity, Terry. Ned says history repeats when people fail to learn the lesson from history. That part, that makes sense. Repeat offenders. Are you a repeat offender? Jason said 100 Ned. And so, listen, Freaknik is here again. But yes, today is the day. People are out, like, talking they talk in different parts. You know, I know in D.C., they're there. But I think it's other locations that people are going to gather together. It's just pretty much that day, wherever you are, to kind of go out and talk your talk. Put your signs up and just say, this ain't it. Say whatever you want to say. Today is that day. The U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio out of Florida, he said that the U.S. can't survive just on providing services to Americans in other countries, because we turned into a service-led, more so, country. We stopped kind of making things. He says, but we have to get back to manufacturing products. Currently, we are going through a reset, which is needed. And, in the long term, this tariff strategy will work. So at the earlier on in this live, I talked about this feels like we're going through like a reset. Because so many people are talking about what they are losing. They're losing. People are losing every day. Y'all think Elon still sending out memos to his employees asking them to not sell off their stock? Because y'all know about a week or two ago, I told y'all been rocking with me long enough. If you're new to my channel, like, share, subscribe, because I be on here talking. Don't let you. Now, if you see Sheik walking and talking, oh, you know she about to go in on some things. Because something about a walk and talk. Look at the numbers. They're always like on my big number videos. Elon, a couple of weeks ago, was sending out memos to his employees saying, hey, or begging them to not sell off their stocks. I told y'all what I do. I'd be like, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. I would be in the bathroom on my phone selling as he on pause on that Teams meeting or whatever, selling my stock. Listen, what you trying to say? You can continue to get rich, but I got to continue to be poor? Because, again, the longer you're holding on to the stock, you're losing value, right? So what he was asking his salaried employees, hopefully they at least salary and not hourly, what he was asking his salary employee to do was to take an L, because for him to continue to win, you have to take an L, right? So the more people were selling off their stocks, the lower the value was going. So he was begging them, y'all don't sell off your stock. But these people money ain't looking like his. So how do you ask that of somebody? Their money, so you can continue to be the richest man in the world? Sir, you can lose, sir, you can lose all the money, all the value in your stock and still have long money. But me, I'm losing the value on however little bit of stock I got, because it probably ain't going to be that deep, because they working for him. They money ain't looking like his, is what I'm saying. Their money is not looking like his. So I'm curious to know how many people... As soon as that meeting ended, it's like, he talking crazy. Yeah. Or even as the meeting was going, they had their phone out. Because y'all know everything you can easily access to on your phone. I told y'all I would have been like, because the fact that he's asking them not to do it, to me, that was a sign that things are bad. Who does that? I've never heard of that, where an employer saying, yo, don't sell your stock. Like, that really was an indication. If them people didn't sell off their stock then, that stock is even lower now, because remember, Tesla took a big hit like many other companies. Tesla is one of the Magnificent Seven. Tesla took a really big hit. They're down, I think it was like down by over 5%. Their number was like over 5%. Top two was Apple at like 9 point something percent. Amazon was like 8 point something percent. I got it in my notes. But these companies are taking L's, but these companies also got a lot of money. So their L don't look like your L. That's the thing we got to keep in mind. Their L does not look like my L or your L, many of your L's who are watching. Regular working everyday people, we cannot afford to have stock and it just take a hit like that overnight. Whereas a billionaire, a trillionaire, even millionaires, they can afford such hit. So I just thought it was just insensitive and narcissistic for even Elon to make that ask of his employees, because you're basically saying your bottom line is more important than theirs. That's what that sounds like to me. He should have allowed for them to make that decision on their own. You can have your little meeting and talk about it and say, hey, we're going through some tough times, but I got faith it's going to go up, you know. But for you to be saying, hey, I'm asking y'all, don't, like, come on, sir. Like, you're overstepping. So that is what he did. But I'm probably, all them employees probably sold off most of their stock. They like, he'll be all right. Like, who gonna check me? But what, you finna fire him? Because they sold. You never know with Elon. He probably would try to go fire somebody. He learned you sold your, if he learned you sold your stock. But whatever. I'm gonna have to take that chance. I would have to take that chance. Come on in here, hit the like button. There's 66 of you in here. Good morning. Good morning. Marco Rubio also said that right now we're just seeing a snapshot of the situation. But this is something, this is like a forever thing, meaning that like these tariffs and these changes, it's here to stay. He was like, it's not like some temporary, we doing this for 90 days. He's like, you know, this is what it is. It's here to stay. Yes, right now it's looking like, oh, doom and gloom. But he was like, it's a snapshot, because over time it's going to work. It's going to do what it's supposed to do, which it kind of lines up, it lines up with what Trump's message this morning on his Truth Socials was. Like, listen, we're on the right path. We have to do what we're doing in order to stop the bleeding because of the previous administration. He was like, they just let it get out of hand. They let it get out of hand. And now he has to be the one to to roll his sleeves up to try to get things back to a better place. I personally do not feel like the Trump administration is being malicious and wanting to just make the U.S. just fold. I don't feel like that. I truly, truly believe that the strategy that he has and what he's trying to do ultimately is for the greater good, even if we cannot understand it. And sometimes it be like that, where things take place and you don't understand, and you just have to trust that that it's for the betterment because of what whoever said, even if you don't see it. Because how many of you have had wins, and prior to receiving that win, you didn't see it coming? You didn't know how you was going to get there, how you was going to make that number. You had faith that you was going to get there. Somebody told you you were going to get there, but you like, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. And that's where that whole walk by faith, not by sight comes in there at. Because a lot of times you don't see it. And most of the time, what I've come to see in my 44 years of living is that the bigger things, the bigger wins, the bigger blessings, you didn't see it. Take this channel, for example. I didn't see it overnight having hundreds of thousands of views on this channel before I even hit 100 subscribers. I didn't see it. How, Sway? How? How do a person with less than 700 subscribers reach 30,000+ people, have over 100,000 views? How, Sway? How? That's what I'm talking about. You a lot of times we don't see it, but you keep the faith. You keep the faith that it's going to happen. And that's where we at right now. Right now, we are in a time that we got to rely on faith more than we ever had before. What they say, sometimes you're tested. I feel like America is being tested right now. We're being tested right now. Trump has extended what he did, like a 75-day extension on the, for TikTok. And y'all know they be straight hating on them on TikTok. What I've come to find is like, people, what they call them, the left, the red, I don't know, but the blue, the Democrats, a lot of them, you know, their playground is TikTok, and the other, you know, Republicans' playground is like X. But listen, he's still trying to keep TikTok around. The ones that be dogging him out the most, like they stay on his neck on TikTok, but he's still extending it. He didn't have to do that, but he doing it. He did it for another 75 days. Because had he not done that, like what, today would have been the last day. I think the 5th was the last day. But a couple of days ago, I learned that, or maybe yesterday, within the last 48 hours, I learned that he did a 75-day extension on it as they tried to kind of work through something to try to keep it around. Listen, Linda, listen. This man is definitely working. This man is working. Let me see. Mary says the employees should hold on to some, if not all, their stock. Do it like Buffett. He holds on to his stock. I think that it's important. I think people have to be able to make those decisions for themselves and not feel pressure from their employer to how they move with their personal finances. Because I'm pretty sure these stocks that he's begging them to not sell, these aren't stocks that he probably gave them. I don't know. Some companies will kind of give you some stocks, but a lot of times, no, like you're purchasing this stock. So if you're utilizing your own monies, like, don't tell me what to do. Like, okay, you can say, hey, we struggling right now. I hope y'all, y'all rock with me. But to have someone to feel the pressure to move a certain way because they work for you, that's not cool. So that's kind of where I stand on that. Even though some people may believe, hey, still hold on to it. I don't know. I don't play around with the stocks like that. But what I do know, I think that that's a very big decision when it comes to when you're purchasing and selling stocks. And it's something that you shouldn't feel pressured to do either way. You should feel good about how you're moving when it comes to your finances, i.e. the stock market. That's my opinion on that. Terry says, when your husband suffers a financial blow, you have to adjust, and it may take time to reveal, except USA as well as others are in a much larger scale across the board. Mary says, Terry, we lost that manufacturing during the Clinton's administration, Democrats. So from what I've been learning, like there was a time, like heavily in the 80s, probably in 90s, maybe some in the 90s, but it seemed like in the 80s is when we moved away from, hold on, let me fix something. Okay. So in the 80s, we moved away from being a manufacturing country, known for making our own things, to being more known as like a service-led country. And what the Trump administration is saying, which makes sense to me, is like that's not sustainable for our economy for us to continue to make money the way we need to. We have to get back to making things again. We have to. Because anywhere, countries and other countries, places that make things that are now thriving, like they're thriving because they make things. They're manufacturing things. We have to get back there. To me, the way I look at it is with us not making things, that's us being in a situation to be reliant on what somebody's going to do for us, like having your hand out. And you happen to just deal with whatever comes along with whatever they're offering you. So if they want to throw you scraps or whatever, like this is what happens when you're in a situation out of need versus control, where you can get to it yourself. What they say, teach a man how to fish, he'll feed, he'll never go hungry. That's to me how I look at like with America. It's like we got to get back to making things on our own. Now, I will say I do understand it's not an overnight thing to get to a place to where we're making things. No, but the process has to start at some point, right? The process has to start at some point where we say, okay, we have to shift and turn our attention back to that, where the plan is now to focus on trying to make things opposed to outsourcing and just saying, oh, well, we'll just pay this person to make it for us. You got to start somewhere, right? So even though, yes, no, it's not going to be an overnight thing, and it's going to take time or whatever, I feel like no better time than today to start, right? No better time than today. No better time than today. Anytime you hear me talk about manufacturing, and when I talk to, following me here in the Trump administration, talk about companies who are deciding to move over here, that automatically equates to jobs. Whenever there's talks of manufacturing, that's jobs. That's jobs. People have to work. People have to work in those environments. I talk about it on this channel a lot about preparation. Those of you who may currently be unemployed as a result of the changes from this current administration, manufacturing jobs are coming. They're coming. Like whether you like it or not, they're coming. It's a thing. They're coming. So the best that you can do is try to figure out how you can be a part of that, to to make money. Like, how, if you're like, okay, man, if these jobs are coming, okay, I can't fight it. It is what it is. How can I position myself? How can I position myself to be a part of that, to where I can kind of make some money too off of it? Hell, everybody else making money. How can I make some money off of it? That's what I think that makes sense for people, because bucking the system and being mad at what's about to happen, like, what does that do? That does nothing for you. You have to get out of your feelings and accept the fact that we are here. We are here. So you have to figure out what's the best way to maneuver through this and navigate through this now that we are here. How can you be a part of it and financially benefit from what is going on? Figure it out. This is a great time too for some people who maybe have played around with the idea of entrepreneurship. They have some items, some products, some goods that they know that, they can sell. They maybe play with it and sell some of it, do it sometimes. Maybe this is a time for you to kind of put more effort and energy into it. So therefore you can just create your own opportunities and not even have to have an employer again. We are in an era of change where change is here, change is necessary, change is required. And if you're unable to, and it's beyond what you want to do. Like, we are so beyond, you got what we want to do. Like, do y'all realize how far removed we are from what we want to do? Like, that's been gone. When I say that, what I mean is that we are all in, it's a survival type time where you have to do what you got to do, and you have to figure out what that means. And that's when it comes, what that means, or how you get to that, or how you learn that, is you study and you pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to what's going on. Listen to these politicians as they're talking about their plans or what kind of changes that are to come. Again, you may not like what they're saying, but that doesn't negate that it's happening. Like, it doesn't negate that. Like, how you feel about what's going on has no bearing on what's going to happen, what has happened. Like, that ain't, one thing don't have, one is not what is synonymous to the other. So what I implore you all to do is to be tapped in, to listen and research. Ask questions, because we got to learn, because this is the best way to protect yourselves, to protect you, your families. You got to learn. You got to understand what's going on. You study it just like anything else. You be like, okay, I see this is our economy is shifting in this direction. So I have to pivot. I got to do something else. I got to do something different. I got to do something possibly I've never done before. But I got to get out of my comfort zone and do it, because I can't just stay here lying down, because I'm going to get trampled over. I am going to get left behind. This is the place where we're at. This is the place where we're at. My channel is not about fearing anything. It's about motivating, to let you know and to kick to you what's really going on out here, so you know how to navigate out here in these streets. That is the purpose of my channel, because a lot of people are so lost in the sauce that they ain't got a clue, because guess what? They stuck and sitting in their feelings, or still being mad about who was named as the president of the United States. Okay, when do you move away from that emotion and start figuring out when within this administration? When? Like, when does that day come? Tierre says the robots are coming. Yes, they are coming. So what I say to that is we have to figure out, how do we work with the robots? Somebody got to goddamn build the robots, right? That's what I mean when I say, when you figuring out how you can fit in. Somebody have to build them. Somebody got to program them. Somebody have to design them. That's going to be people, right? That's going to be people. So some of you who are at a point of, you're trying to figure out like what to do as far as with going to school, what to study. This is what I talk about when I say read the room, see what's going on. And AI is here. It is a thing. Figure out how you can work with it. Not work against it, but work with it, because it's here. It's not going anywhere. This is not going anywhere. Just like Trump isn't going anywhere. He's here at least for 4 years. So you got to figure out how to play, how to work with him. You got to figure it out, because you are the one that's going to get left behind by sitting in your feelings and emotions. And that's not what smart people do. Smart people move with logic. So they say, all right, then he here. So let me get out of my feelings that he's here, and let me figure out, based off of how he roll, how he's managing this country, how I can position myself to where I can still win. That's what you do. That's what you do, because what's the point in fighting against him? Y'all, do y'all know that stress kills? Like, stress will take you out. My background is clinical. For any of you who are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Chic. My channel, Chic Speaks on it. I have a second channel, Chic Speaks. Follow me over there as well. But my background is clinical mental health counseling. So I talk a lot about like coming from a place of just emotion, psychology, things like that, because everything, you know, like when we wake up and we move around out here in this world, in these streets, like the things that we're doing, like it's having some type of impact on us, whether it's good or bad. And so even with all this that's going on right now, it's impacting so many people psychologically. Rightfully so. Like, to me, it makes sense. I can easily see why it can have a psychological impact on somebody, because this stuff is deep. This is deep. Teacher of the year, talking about, hell, I just got announced teacher of the year, and then following that, also got announced that I was just told that I'm getting laid off. Make that make sense. How does that not F up somebody's mind when they hear something like that? So even though with Trump and he's trying to make these changes to make America great again, or make it whatever he's trying to make it, I understand the impact that it's having on people as well. Like, here's my thing. Just because you're saying, okay, I'm supporting what's going on over here, that don't mean that you can't also understand what's going on over there either, and what somebody's grievances may be. You see what I'm saying? Two things can be true at the same time. Trump can be trying to move this country in the right direction so we can have better days, but also somebody over here can be impacted and struggling and questioning life. You see how two things can be true at the same time? So I'm very balanced. I can see that. And on this channel, I speak about that. I acknowledge what President Trump is doing as far as how he's trying to pivot and make America great again and get us to wherever we need to get. But I also acknowledge the thoughts and the emotions of the people who are being impacted by it as well. This is what I do on this channel. That's why I do it on this channel, because I know you don't see that like that on that level on any other channel. It's hard either this way or hard either that way. That ain't chic. Anybody who knows me know I'm very balanced. I can see things from all different points of view. And if a lot of you get out of your feelings, you can start to see it from all points of view as well. But I'm just someone to where it's not hard for me to do that. But it seems to be very hard for a lot of people. Good morning, Berlana. It seems to be very hard for a lot of people to view things from another perspective, to view things from another side. Like, that's not hard for me. I do it all the time. I'm raising boys and girls. I think that contributes to it. So I'm not just a girl mom, I'm a boy mom, I'm a mom. I got both. I'm married. So I'm seeing experiences or whatever as it pertains to a male, and then I'm a woman, so I can speak on experiences as it pertains to a woman. So there you go. You got chic. Very balanced. It's not hard for me to see things from the different angles. And I think that's not what people do enough of. I think we all have the ability to do it, but we all don't do it. We all don't do it. And that's the sad part. But hey, it is what it is, but that's all right. You can come over here on my channel, listen to me talk about just how jacked up both sides are, because I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. Everybody got work to be done. None of us are perfect people. And I talk about the imperfections of just both sides, all sides. You know, we all got some things to work on. Good morning. Come on in, like the video. Let me see. Miss Janaya says, this is exactly what I told myself. Getting out of my abusive relationship, get up and get out or else. That's the way I live my life. Or get off the pot is how I live my life. And if I get into conversations with people, that is basically the message that I tell people. You have your little moments where, you know, we got to be able to sit in our feelings, but we can't live there. We cannot live in those emotions. There comes a point to where you got to say, okay, I'm finished. I'm all cried out. It's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. That's how you make progression. That's how you move past your situation and you get to another day. It starts in the mind. Everything starts in the mind. You have to tell yourself, okay, I know I'm hurting. This hurt, but I know I got work to do. I got to get to it. So in order to get to it, I got to get out of my feelings, not sit here in it and just cry in it. You don't forget. What I'm saying has nothing to do with you forgetting. You're just not allowing for that emotion to cripple you and to hold you back. You're not allowing for that emotion to say, I'm done. There's just nothing else for me. You're not doing that. Many of us have had moments where we've felt that. But the difference is that you got past that. You moved past that emotion and got to a place to where you said, okay, it is what it is. I'm going to work to get out this situation and do something different and create a different outcome for myself. Then you have the other people who still sit in it because they get solace out of just being a victim. That's the victimist mindset, where you got a lot of people, some of y'all might be in here, you know, people like that, to where they get comfort out of knowing that they're in a situation that they can talk about that's going to have people, you know, sympathize with them, give them handouts or whatever, because they feel like they're benefiting by being a victim. So they don't want to move away from that space. They feel like, okay, well, by being a victim and I talk about it, that brings attention to me and people want to hear what I got to say because, you know, I got all this emotion of what's happening to me. Listen, again, it's the victimist mindset. What? That's not what you're going to find over here if you haven't figured that out yet. So if you on that type of time, this is probably not the place for you, because if you over here with me, I'm going to be on some, okay, so I hear your cries. Hello, good morning. I'm on some, okay, I hear your cries. So what we doing? What we doing next? What's our game plan? What we about to do? Because that should have you amped. All that you just said to me should have you amped to be ready to be like, yo, I'm going hard. I'm going in. You see what I'm saying? It's the fuel. It's the fuel. So that's more of the messaging that I come from, which is how I ended up, you know, going down the path to becoming, you know, with the therapist path, because with friends and things like that, that was my message. That was my message. That's how I built them, for them to have strength to say, you know what, Sheik, I know I'm going through it, but hell, you done got me that motivated. I'm ready to go out here and just do big things. That's what prompted me to go to school, get another degree in clinical mental health counseling. Hopefully this song won't jack up my live, even though it's my cut. YouTube, you got to share your money. You got to share your money. But yeah, so that's what you're going to get from me. I'm going to uplift you. I'm going to uplift you. I'm not going to just sit here with you. I'll entertain it for a minute because I know you're human. You got feelings, you got emotions, but we're not going to sit in that. And that's where we are today. We cannot sit in our emotions that Trump is our president. We got to move past that. And there's far too many people who are still sitting in their emotions of, he is the president, he's the leader. Okay, well, I don't know what to tell you. Because you're not benefiting from here by just complaining. You got to figure out, okay, since he's here, how can I work with him? What we got to do something. Listen, we're here. We can't cry over spilled. T said, yeah, that's the y'all just don't know. I'm a music person. How much I wish I could play music, because that just speaks to me. And we all got to identify our thing that get us through. Music is mine. What is yours? You don't know what your thing is? I have some products for mental health on Amazon. There's some links in my video. I was able to post it on this video this morning since I scheduled it. I have some mental health products, adult coloring books, notebooks, journals for adults, children. Check it out. Products range from $5.99 to $7.99. Figure out what it is to help you with your mental health, because this issue is heavy, and I'm not going to hold you. I'm not going to be on here downplaying, saying it's not. But what I will tell you is that you can get through it. You can get through it, and it's going to start with your mindset. And it's also going to start too, and what makes a difference too, is the type of people you have in your circle. What type of words are they speaking to you? Are they speaking positivity into you? Or are they a part of the problem? Are they in the soapbox? So while you crying and you cussing your dude out or whatever, she crying and cussing hers out too. You know what I'm saying? So it makes a difference. You got to kind of move around. You got to move around and change your environment, your circle, who you listening to, because sometimes that's just what we need. We need to hear from somebody different, somebody who may think differently from us, to give us a different perspective, because everybody don't think the same, including me. I listen to other people in here. I like to, with the comments and things like that, to just read and learn about other people, hear other people's perspectives, because I take those things into an account as I'm navigating through all of this as well. I come on here and I share it with you all, like, where my mind is. But there's a lot of times, with reading, I move around, I switch stances, I start to look at things closely as I see what has your attention. What has your attention? So that's what it's about. Each one teach one. We come together. And this space is for that, for bringing people together, not a they against them. That's not what you're going to find over here, if you haven't realized that already. It's not a they against them. This is like that environment that's neutral, where it's like, okay, I want to talk my talk and be good with it. And the host and her, she's going to be fine with me expressing myself. This is that place. This is that place. And I think a lot of people have figured it out, which is why I have had an influx of new subscribers as to date. We're nearing 2,000. My goal is by tomorrow to hit that goal. We hit the first 1,000 subscriber goal so quickly, to where before I got a chance to publicly acknowledge it with a separate post or celebrate, we were getting close to the 2,000. So I'm like, okay, next goal, 2,000. So thank you all for subscribing to my channel, watching my videos, sharing. If you want me to see your comment, I will say put some color in this chat, because it's a lot of comments that come through. Most of the time it's in the thousands, and I can't possibly see them all. But with the colored super chats, it pops up at the top so I can see it easier. So that's what that's about. But otherwise, you can like the video, share. Start 72 of you in here, 30 thumbs up, 30 likes if you can hit the like button to at least, get me to 70 likes. I appreciate it. But this is where I'm at. So I'm going to try to, it's a glare on my phone. I'm going to try to read through some of these comments. It's a lot going on, you all. My prayer is that you all keep your head up, stay vigilant, understand, be tapped in, understand what's going on, figure out how you can navigate through it to the best of your ability for you and your family, because you can, but it's going to start by you removing the emotion out of it. Find something to be driven by. What drives you? If you're a parent, a lot of you, your children may drive you. Be driven by your children. Be driven for better days for them to have a better experience. Try to understand what that means. What are some things that you can be showing them or telling them? As I talk about preparation for what's to come, have conversations with them about their career aspirations. Talk to them about the direction that the world is going in, so therefore they can get to thinking about what type of jobs that they can do, to where they'll be able to be gainfully employed. Because basically what I was telling my son, he's home for spring break this weekend, so I have all my 3 babies home with me for now. I told him that basically you have to figure out how to merge what you like, but what's also going to pay the bills. How about that? You got to somehow figure it out, because you got a lot of people who have only focused on the path of, okay, what they like doing, and it don't pay the bills. It might be some of you. Or people where their education and skills are on one thing, but it doesn't pay the bills. So they're struggling because of the inability to move around and to transition into another field where the money is there. That's why you'll see a lot of people who go to school and have education in one field and work in a completely different field. I'm one of those people. Because what happens is that a lot of times people will go to school and they get this education, these skills in a certain sector, and then they later learn that it's not going to put food on the table. And that's a lot of times how people wind up in different fields other than, what their maybe educational degree is in. But that's okay, because a lot of companies, if they are focused on wanting you to have a degree, they're not heavily focused on what it's in. A lot of companies just would like to see that you at least have a degree, because it just shows basically your commitment to kind of follow through with something. So that's how a lot of people can get away with having a degree in social services, but You know, they're working in finance. You see what I'm saying? So it can work. So, you know, you gotta figure it out. We can do it. Just figure it out. And we don't always all have the answers ourselves, but that's okay, because that's why it's important to have dialogue with other people, so you can come together, have a meeting of the minds, and brainstorm and figure it out. And that's pretty much what we do on this channel. Hopefully, you know, maybe you're doing it with some of your other favorite content creators, but we just talk about it. Let me see. Octologic says, during the 1980s, when we say we were losing manufacturing jobs, that was under Ronald Reagan and George Bush, both Republican presidents, not Democratic presidents. Makes sense. I just feel like this is my opinion of what I've seen. To me, over the years, I've noticed, I feel like with a Democrat Party, that it's a party that's mostly moved from emotion. And with the Republican Party, it's moved mostly from logic. That's what I've seen over the years. When I see because it's heavy emotion. I notice when Democrats get pissed off, like, y'all, they be in a feel, they be in their feelings. They just ready to. It's a different. Let me know if y'all understand what I'm talking about. These Democrats, they're very emotional. They're very emotional, and that's a common thing that I've seen. That they're very emotional. But also most Democrats, most Black people are Democrats too. We're known as being emotional people sometimes, to our detriment, to where we get in our feelings a lot and we make decisions, and it's not the best decision, but we're making it because we're I don't know, we're just a different type of people, to where we show emotion and feel things in a whole different type of way. And it could just be rooted from just the history, our ancestors, slavery, where we had to come together for survival. And remember, as I talked to you all about going off of faith, not sight, like that, during that time, they had to do that more so than ever, because it just looked so dark and bleak, to where there was probably many of them from sight. They didn't see a way out, but they prayed and had the faith that one day that slavery would be abolished. It'd be a thing of the past. And like, here we are. So from what I've come to see with the Democratic Party is that it's a lot of emotion centered around just that party, and not logic, where you're thinking things through. That's just what I've come to see. So I also talked about on this channel, just even you all, when you look at how different states within the U.S. are ran, and you look at what type of party the governor subscribes to, the governor and the mayors and things like that, it's very telling as to how that city is ran. Because from what I've come to notice is that the Republican ran states, they don't have as many issues when it comes to like finances and laws and things, as far as ordinance, just kind of keeping things going in the right way. I noticed that those states don't really make the news like that. Like, let's just take Florida in comparison to Chicago, Illinois. Like you see what Chicago, Illinois is giving versus what Florida is giving. You see what I'm saying? We're always, usually when we're listening to or we're hearing conversations centered around, say, Chicago, Illinois, it's on some just crazy negative type stuff, where they're just down bad. The mayor just on some, like, it's just not having you say, hey, I want to pick up and uproot there. I ain't never had that thought. I ain't never talked to, listen, that's just not what you're thinking when you listen to the news and you see Lori Lightfoot up there. That's just not what you're thinking. Like, that's where I want to go. You're thinking like, But when you're listening to the news and you see Mayor DeSantis up there, he's a lot of times saying some things that's having you like, all right, then I might need to consider that place. He's sounding like he's sounding very logical. He's sounding like he's really out to see his, the Floridians win. It's just that y'all see what I'm saying? It's different. So that's why I say, pay attention to who's running the states. Take California for an example. How many of you all have heard anything as of late centered around California in the media that has you say, yo, I'm ready to just pack up and move there? And I'm from there. This is what I'm talking about. It's like they don't take care of their business. The stuff that takes place there, you're like, how, Sway? Because again, it defies common sense. It defies common sense. So what I've seen is that with a lot of Democratic-led things, it defines common sense. But with the Republican things, it's logic. And again, some of these logical adjustments, you're not seeing it up front as to how it's going to work. But if you let the person cook, you let President Trump cook, as my husband likes to say, let him cook, you start to see like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, because what's happening now, President Trump's like, yo, like I did this the first time I was in house. This is more on a bigger scale, but like I did this before. So you give it time, but we'll get there. But I've done this before. This is not a new strategy. It's more aggressive than the first time, but I did it and it worked. So we're doing it again. We're just on a more aggressive pace. We're doing it at a more of aggressive level because we're worse off now today than we were when I took office in 2016. So that's kind of where he is on that. Let me try to read some of the comments. Brolena says, I don't know. As a mixed person, I admit I feel more comfortable in Democrat areas, but financially, it makes more sense to go to the Republican areas. Thank you, Bromlena, for saying that, because you're acknowledging, that, hey, you're seeing a difference between the Democrat arena and a Republican. If and I'll pose the question. My mom asked this question. She was like, I would love to see a poll on if people could choose, or what the world would look like if you can choose what type of environment you want to live in, the Republican-led environment or the Democrat-led environment. Like, say, based off of how you vote Republican. Okay, your world is just ruled by, let's just say, Trump. And then you vote Democrat and your world ruled by Biden. Okay, so you got Biden over here and you got Trump over here. Which one, y'all let me know in the comments, under whose leadership, because at one point it was between those two men 4 years ago. Under whose leadership would you choose to survive underneath? Would you choose to survive underneath Donald J. Trump's leadership, which is the Republican leadership, or would you choose to survive in underneath the Biden leadership? That's the question. Put it in the comments. I want to know, because again, as I say, we got to get out of our feelings. When you stop and really think about it, historically, underneath Republican leadership, we've had more wins as a collective for our nation. I'm just saying, it is what it is. It is what it is. So I think for people, the message is get out of your feelings, start moving with logic, and figure out how to get to it that's going to be the best for you and yours. However that means. Because here's the thing. What you may conclude that makes the most sense, the people around you may not agree, but that's okay. That is okay. That is okay. You don't even have to broadcast everything with how you move. Some of y'all talk too much and you tell everything. You ain't got to tell everybody how you move. You don't have to do that. Especially if you feel like, okay, your safety is on the line. Don't talk about it. Just be about it. Ain't nobody got to know. Move in silence. Like, that is a real thing. That is a real thing. Move in silence. Try it. Move in the way that's best for you. You don't got to be talking about it to people. You don't have to get into these political conversations. You don't have to do that. What y'all think people who I work around, who I rub elbows with every day, you probably can't tell them that I ain't no staunch Democrat. They'd be shook. I mean, if they understood or really knew me, because a lot of times they're just going to judge you based off of like what you look like. So it's going to be the assumption that, oh yeah, she probably a rider for Jasmine. She a rider for Kamala. because, you know, going off of her resume, you know, and what she got going on, it aligns with, you know, from a professional standpoint, what they got going on. So people will form the assumption. Then people probably be in the fetal position that I'd be around if they really knew how I felt. They would be clutching their invisible pearls. I think about the day some of them might come across my YouTube content and they just gonna be flabbergasted. But here's the thing. I don't have to go around broadcasting my stance on things. I just live. I live, I observe what's going on, and I come to my little YouTube channel. I'm a small content creator, and I talk about it. That's what I do. I don't even have like family members or nothing who probably watch my content. Y'all, ain't nobody else in my family other than my mom and my husband sharing these ideologies, you know, this thought process. They're heavy, staunch Democrats. But that's okay. That is okay. You find your tribe. They're my family, but just because they're my family don't mean that we have the same political views. And guess what? We can still get along very well together. We don't talk politics. Or if it does come up, you know, we have conversations, but what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to sit and argue with you about what you believe in, because I'm not in the business of changing anyone's mind. I always say that I'm not in the business of changing any of your minds. That's not what I'm going to do over here. It's not about changing anyone's mind. My channel is about enlightening you on what I'm seeing that's taking place in this world and trying my best to explain it to you so you understand, because a lot of people don't understand. So I put a lot of effort with trying to understand what's going on so I can come out here and kick it to you and tell you so it can help you to understand what's going on, and you know then how to move. That's what I do. It's nothing to do with changing your mind. And in the midst as we come together, some people's minds may get changed along the way. That's okay, but that's not what it's about over here. That's not what it's about over here. It's just about enlightenment. I call us affectionately the honor students, because it's about elevating, requiring people to come up to your level, asking questions, using common sense and discernment, all of that. Speaking your truth, you know, not being led, but being a leader, making your own decisions, not going along with the get along because somebody looks like you, but moving by what's right. Not like in my emotions, how I feel, because moving in feelings will have you catching plenty of L's. How many of you have made decisions in your life and it was centered around feelings and you regret it? You felt like that was not the move because you know that was an emotional decision that you made. We've all done it at some point. But the honest ones, the ones who've learned and are truthful about it, can admit it and say, yeah, that's exactly what I did. That is exactly what I did. And I messed up when I made that knee-jerk decision because I got pissed off. I was in my feelings. But maybe some of you were fortunate enough to have those other people in your life that maybe was able to talk to you to say, no, that's just not it. That's an emotional response right there. So take a breath, take a minute, take a step back. Reassess the situation, and then, you know, go ahead and make your decision. And a lot of times, like when you do things like that, your decision is going to be something different than what the decision originally would have been had you just responded when you were at the height of your emotions. People do that all the time, especially women. You got men that do it, but women, we will do it all the time. And that's just not the way to move in life. You have to stop and think. That should come with growth, but you got a lot of people who are still up in age and still moving in emotion. I don't know what to tell them. But all I know is that's just not what you do. If you're trying to have something and get somewhere in life, you got to learn how to check your emotions and move with logic. And sometimes, you know, and understand that sometimes you're not going to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to trust that there will be light at the end of the tunnel. Go to your higher power, go into prayer, ask for whatever that needs to be revealed to you, be revealed to you. What they say, ask and you shall receive. Do all of that. Listen, we are in times we got to pull out all the stops. We got to pull out the Bible, the Quran, the candles, the cards. Like you got to, you listen, these are the times that we are in because it's bigger than us. It's heavy. Hey, Miss X, it's heavy. You got to, because you can't do it on your own. And you got a lot of people out here trying to do it on their own, and a lot of them feel like, because I don't have anybody. But guess what? If you have a higher power, you do have, there is something else that you do have. Take it to the higher power, because in a lot of situations, even if we do have people in our life, it's not the right type of people that's guiding us in the right direction. So again, you have to go within and go deep and ask for answers to be revealed to you, because they will be revealed. Go get into a quiet space and ask for it to be revealed to you, and it'll come. It'll come. It'll come. So don't ever feel like you're alone and you don't have anybody, because you do. You do. You just got to go within, but you do. We all do. Not all of us are aware of that, but we do. And once you become aware of that, now that's the game changer. That is when you start really seeing that movement in your life, when you look beyond the physical, because naturally we want to start looking at the physical for help and for a savior. And then we feel like, okay, there isn't anyone to help us. And then it's like an afterthought to go within, or to look to a higher power, when that should be the first thought. For a lot of us, it's an afterthought. And it's like, oh yeah, you do exist. You are there. And, so it's just like, well, yeah, I've always been here. How you think you here? So it's like we got to flip it and turn, to that higher power first, early on, versus later, after we feel like we just exhausted all our resources in the physical. We got to go early on within. So that is a suggestion I have for any of you out there. Try it and test it. So I know firsthand, it can help. It can make a difference if you're a believer in it, whatever that thing is that you may believe in. Ooh, it's getting hot in here. Ms. X says, I just encourage others to just do some research and have discernment. Listen, that's on that. That's all you can do. That is all you can do. Brolena says, Republican areas with acceptance for different skin tones would be my ideal. Yeah, I mean, there's those places out there. I live in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. It's pretty much a Republican led. Our governor Kemp, he's a Republican. I have no issues with how our state is ran. So speaking on Georgia, let me shift on that. Let me tell you how Georgia is standing on business when it comes to this immigration. So I saw yesterday this press conference that took place with my local for Gwinnett County. And they talked about how they just did a raid. And in that raid, I think this all took place last week. They did a raid. And in that raid, there were 60 people that they were able to rescue that were trafficked to the USA. 60. Let me get my little notes, see what I wrote about that. So again, that wasn't being covered on by the mainstream media outlets. I think what was covering it, how I seen the story, was from one of from the local news outlets. But hold on, let me try to get my notes on the details. But that was huge. That was huge. Let's see. Hold on. All right. Program is back. See, I'm not sitting. Hopefully I'll be at my house soon and I can sit. Gwinnett County raid So since January, they've arrested over 1,500 illegal aliens. So this is since the Trump administration, over 1,500. This is in Gwinnett County. This is Georgia. This is how many. So for Georgia, I think the number is 1,500. I don't think that's just narrowed down for Gwinnett County, but I'm not quite sure on that because the news headline was centered around Gwinnett County where there was a raid that took place. So since in the state, so we'll say in the state of Georgia, there's been 1,500 plus arrests for illegal aliens. And 58, there's been arrests for 58 drug traffickers. There's been 9 pew-pews that they've been able to get during these raids and 26 pounds of fentanyl. Yes, 26 pounds of fentanyl. So also, they were able to get 1,300 pounds of meth. And then they said the 26 pounds of fentanyl equates to about $500,000 in, I guess, sales, like as far as the sales value of it, the street value. And that'll give you about 6.5 million lives that they have saved, estimate, as a result of confiscating that fentanyl. And they said that fentanyl that they had to distribute would have impacted the lives of about 240,000 people. 240,000 people. So they're really proud of what they did. Try to get to the bottom. Hold on. They're really proud of what they did because, like, they've impacted a lot of lives by getting these drugs off the street because it was going to go out into our communities. And just because it was here in Georgia, y'all know that those drugs would have made its way wherever it was supposed to go. It would have definitely left outside of the state of Georgia. So, also another message. Our U.S. government is strongly encouraging self-deportation. So, did you all know that there is an app out there? It's a customs and border protection app. So there's an app out there. I don't know they didn't say the exact name of the app, but they said there is an app out there. So when you self-deport and you make it to your destination, you can go onto the app and update your status and say, hey, I'm back in El Salvador. No worries about me. And then the U.S. government will be like, oh, okay, bet. And they'll use that as documentation to support, like, okay, this person has left. We no longer need to look for them. There's no arrest being made centered around him or his family. He's gone. This person will also have the ability to be able to apply to come back. So this is for self-deportation. They're like, listen, you self-deport, like, we're good. We're not finna say nothing. We're not going to say anything, like, we're done. Like, you're good with us. Hello, yeah, it's like you're good with us. So there's an app out there, like I said, and they said it's a customs and border protection app. So you can come, if you want to come back, you can apply. And speaking of immigrations, did you all see that there is a judge that have ordered President Trump to return back one of the people who he sent to the El Salvador prison? So apparently there's a guy, and his wife have been advocating for him, and he has an attorney, and they were like, Trump illegally, ICE rode up on him mistakenly and put him on a plane to El Salvador. And he's not because ICE, Trump administration, they're like, no, he's an MS-13 gang member. His wife and lawyer are saying, no, he's not. So they went through the courts. The judge ruled and said, hey, I guess based off of the information that was presented to the judge, they were like, okay, well, I haven't seen information that support that this man is this bad person that the Trump administration say he is. So we need for him to be brought back. And I don't even know if, like, even when he's brought back, what the judge is saying should happen to him, because all I know is the judge was like, yo, he need to be brought back, and he need to be back in the U.S. by Monday at 11:59 p.m. So President Trump and his administration have until Monday at 11:59 p.m. to have this man who was sent to El Salvador brought back to the U.S. Y'all think Trump gonna meet that deadline? Listen, from what I learned is that Trump's attorney, the attorney for the Trump administration that was there, he was like, well, we don't have the ability, we can't bring him back. I don't know how, he told them, I don't know how we supposed to do this. Like legit, like the attorney is like, yo, like, because remember, all of this is new. So all they're used to is just having they ain't got no round trip situation going over there. You getting on that Spirit plane, I call it Spirit, you getting on that Spirit plane, and it's a one-way stop. It ain't no round trip situation where okay, well, I'm leaving on May 3rd to head back. No. The plane leaves April 2nd, and that's on that. You know what I'm saying? So the attorney was like, yeah, I'm not quite sure how we're going to make that happen, because, like, we can't just get them back. So, yeah, I guess I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. Listen, the judge was like, listen, I don't know, whatever you do. Y'all figured out how to get him over there, so y'all need to figure out how to get him back. That man better be back by 11:59 p.m. on Monday, April 7th, 2025. So I'm going to let y'all know that, so y'all can keep an eye out on that, because I'm going to be traveling. It's spring break for me next week, so I'll be traveling. And so I may not be caught up on the reports on that day. But I'm going to need for y'all to see if Trump had that man on Spirit flying back to wherever. Let me see where that man lived at. Let me see. Let me look on my notes. Give me a second. See what's going on with this man. It's a lot going on, y'all. When I say I got all kinds of notes. Okay, here we go. His home is Maryland. So that Trump said, listen, you better have that man back in Maryland at 11:59 p.m. I know that. Attorney, you better take the message or whatever you need to take to go and take it back to the team, take it back to the house, and let them know that I said, and I stand on business. I don't know what kind of judge he been working with, but I don't even know if this judge is the same one who's he kind of worked with before with the other people who he sent over there. Remember, because when there was that one judge who ruled and it's like, yo, like, Trump, like, you need to turn these planes around, whatever. And they were like, yo, we didn't get the memo until after they landed. So I don't know if it's this judge or if it's a different judge. It's probably a different judge that's dealing with this situation. But this judge is like, yo, like, yeah, y'all need to bring that man back to Maryland. So here's on that. So let me tell you what the Department of Homeland said in response to that. Y'all, I told y'all, come on in here, like this video, like, share, subscribe. I got some things for you. So there's a woman by the name of Trisha McLaughlin. She's the Department of Homeland Security Assistant Attorney. What she said to that was, if he returns to the USA, he will still be held in a detention facility and locked up and off the American streets, because he is an MS-13 gang member who murders, Rs, and maims for sport. So they still like, all right then, judge. All right then, you saying he need to come back? Even if he do come back, he ain't finna be on the streets. He ain't finna be at the crib laid up with the wifey. He ain't finna be there with not all of that. He ain't finna be at the next Cinco de Mayo celebration. I know he's not finna be there. He's not gonna be there, because this man ain't what y'all think he is. Now, I don't know. I don't have an opinion on how this man roll. I'm just reporting the news. Trish said that he can come back if he wants to, but he's still finna be locked up. So it's just a matter of he locked up there or if he locked up here, because he's still locked up, period. He's still locked up. It is what it is. It is what it is. That's y'all. When I say this, y'all, if this was a soap opera, what would we call it? Y'all remember As the World Turns? How many of y'all still watch it? I grew up on The Young and the Restless. This right here, As Trump World Turns, like, this is on some other type of stuff. This, y'all, when I say doing this content creation and covering all of this that I be talking about on this channel is some work. So the least y'all can do is like the video. Because I be working, trying to understand what the freak is going on, because it's so much. It's so much. That's how I know that this issue is having an impact on people in so many different ways, more than their bank accounts, but their psyche, their emotions, because it's a lot. It is a lot. It's a lot. And in some type of capacity with everything that's going on, people are impacted. It's just a matter of how you're feeling the impact. How are you feeling the impact? Drop it in a comment. How are you feeling the impact of what's going on today? This is the question for wherever you are in the world. Because what we do over here in the USA, it impacts other nations. That's why we make the news the way we do. Because what Trump is doing is impacting other countries. It's impacting other countries. So, will that man be back? I don't know. Because remember, since that judge had got on Trump about still sending that flight over to El Salvador, them 2 flights, even when he told him not to. Trump, I think like last weekend, had another flight. Because remember, I talked about on this channel, they arrested the MS-13 gang leader. He was one of the top leaders in our country. He was a leader in the Southeast region. They found him in Virginia. He's only 24 years old. I think he got on that one-way Spirit flight, I think it was last weekend. So when I heard that they still sent people over there, I said, wait a minute. I thought we had a halt on the one-way drop-offs, Spirit one-way drop-offs, because of the situation with the judge. I guess Trump them like, hell, you ain't running this, I'm the president. So they still did that one-way trip to El Salvador. So on that trip was, I guess, that gang leader. So listen here, Pam Bondi, she got her 3 more. She rounded up, she got 3 more MS-13 gang members that she caught up with. 2 in Florida and 1 in another state. I don't know if he was in Massachusetts or it was another state. But she said he thought he was doing something by getting away and going to another state and trying to kick his heels up. But she said the way they rolled up on him, she said the one in Florida, one of them, they rolled up on him while he was trying to lay, I don't know, she said he was laying sheetrock or something. She said he was laying sheetrock. They rolled up on him talking about, let me holler at you. Y'all know what that roll up meant? They be like, come over here, let me holler at you. Now, probably was Pam Bondi who said that, because y'all know she a beast. She said with her chest. She probably was the one that kind of rolled up on him and said, let me holler at you. But nonetheless, there's 3 MS Gang 13 members who were arrested. And she said, yeah, the crimes that they've committed, murder, rape, torture. There's some man, they said they had tortured him. What they did, they stabbed him 100 times or something. Because they be doing stuff, she said, just for street cred. Sometimes somebody will challenge you to do something crazy. That's what I say. Be careful of the company you keep. Somebody be like, do this to kind of earn your stripes. So one of the things that supposedly they did was, torture this guy. And I think he was stabbed like 100 times. And of course, I think he died. He ain't with us no more. But like, this is the type of stuff that she said they were doing. She's like, oh, y'all got to go. CCOT got a cell with your number on it. And a hard, and y'all know them bunk beds they be sleeping on with no mat. Listen, Linda, I didn't talk about CCOT over there. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, Google CCOT, C-E-C-O-T. It's the El Salvadorian prison. That ain't what you want. I assure you, everything that you see popping off there, that ain't popping off in the prisons in the U.S. It's not. That ain't what you want. So, but when you doing ish like this, of what Pam Bondi saying these gang members are doing, that's the only place you need to be before you leave up out of here and go to hell or wherever you're going to go in the afterlife. Because while you're here in the living with breath in your lungs, you need to be there. And that's not where you want to be. That's why I say Google it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's called CCOT. It's in El Salvador. It's a prison spelled CECOT. Get into it. I promise you, just watching a little video gonna change your life. You're gonna be like, oh, hell no. Well, anyway, there's still one-way spirit flights that are making their way over to El Salvador in spite of the judge. Y'all know we got a different kind of president. You know them politicians, them judges, they stay cussing them out. You know how you be so mad, you talking to yourself? Y'all know these supposed to be cussing themselves out, talk as they trying to go to sleep, cussing Trump out. This MF, he think he running. I'm so tired of him. He better be sending multiple people into early retirement at 45. They be like, I can't do this no more. I'm tapped out. I can't even stick around just to damn steal the money from the government. I just can't do it. He done worked my nerves to the top. Listen, I can't do it no more. But y'all know how sometimes you meet them people and you feel like they were life-changing? That's Trump. Trump, regardless for good or bad, he will definitely change your life. Ask those people who got on the flights to El Salvador. So every night they some of them people who go to bed cussing him out because, like I said, they rolling up, him and Pam rolling up on people. Talking about, let me holler at you. Let me holler at you. So they said, yeah. So regardless with the state with this man that's supposed to be coming back, they're saying, listen, we still finna have him in a clink clank. I don't know. The thing that I feel like that should happen, I think that using this gentleman this guy as an example, because I don't know, listen, I wasn't even finna try to act like his name wasn't Carlos or Juan. Let me just say that. So I can't remember his name, but it was something of, it was a Latin name. But I feel like, in this situation or when this guy come back, like the Trump administration, they're going to have to show paperwork to support their claims of just someone like him being caught up, and being a part of this gang. Because we know just here, like you can't like just lock up on like hearsay. Like you got to have some type of receipts or evidence. That's just what we as, American citizens want. Now, supposedly, I guess this guy, he was here. He was here through something. I don't know if he was here through a program or whatever. So it wasn't like he was here and it was like something where it was undocumented, like not on our records. I think he had some type of, I don't know if it was a temporary little, access to being able to be over here or whatever. But either way, they're like, you just wasn't operating. You wasn't operating in a way that was just best for the American citizens. You just, no, you just weren't. So I feel like, the Trump administration is now going to kind of have to support that when this man comes back to, if they're saying, hey, Trisha's like, yo, you still going to be locked up. Okay. Can you show us the paperwork, the documentation that you have to support why you saying this should be his situation? So I'm not mad at that if that is the ask of the judge, because I do feel like when you are accusing someone of doing such heinous crimes, like what many of the people who got sent over to CCOT are accused of, I do feel like, it's warranted to back that up with the documentation on what you have to support that. I don't feel like, okay, because someone came over here illegally, they should go to El Salvador, go to CCOT. No, I think they should go back home. But if you were over here and you were doing, committing heinous crimes, then yes, go to CCOT. But that's if you were doing those type of crimes, and not everyone who are illegal aliens, they're over here doing those type of crimes. That's just not the case. So I do think that if you do feel like, okay, somebody was doing some type of crimes, you should have some type of documentations or supports. Now, back to with the MS-13, the gang leader who they kind of picked up maybe like a week ago, they said he was living in like a really nice apartment community with just, people with there and them not even having a clue on who they were living next door to. She said they were, kids, bikes and stuff outside. So she was just kind of outdone with how somebody would be capable of like doing the crazy things, but then go and just blend in and into suburban America. Like, but how often we see that play out when we watch these stories about like, what do you call it? Like in these stories about people who commit crazy crimes. And then you see that they were like living like right amongst you. Like, to me, that's not like out of the ordinary. That's why a lot of times, like the people you need to watch out for, they don't look crazy. How many of y'all seen that? Like, it's where you be like, the ones that's really getting to it, doing that work, they don't look that way. I haven't seen a picture yet of the guy, because he's only 24, who was the leader of the in the southeast region for the MS-13. I haven't seen what he looked like, but I'm wondering if probably with the way he looks, like many people who do crazy things, if he just he just blended in and nobody thought nothing of it. He's a 24 years old. So I wasn't surprised when she talked about the type of community or whatever that he was living in. Because y'all know, whenever we be watching these movies and stuff, and with the big top people, they don't be living in the hood. So they always live nice. They usually have a big old house, a big estate. So she just said he lived in a really nice apartment community. But I'm used to, the top-notch ones living in nice communities. You usually see the ones that's still trying to kind of get to it. The workers, the runners, those are the ones that live typically kind of more so like in the hood. But them ones who are like the shot callers, they ain't living in no slums. They living good. But that was the part that kind of took her out. So, but yeah, so, immigration is still a thing here that is here to stay. Like during that press conference I talked about for Georgia, they were like, hey, immigration, what we're doing, all of this stuff is here to stay. And they said, let me tell y'all this too, for any of y'all who may be on here who are business owners here in the USA. They said, if we find out that you are still employing illegal aliens and you know that they're illegal, you're getting arrested. Listen, that's what that man said. And he said how we're learning about these places to go to is that, people are calling these hotlines and giving them tips on, that Wendy's up the street, I don't know, you might want to roll up in there and, have some folks show their paperwork. You know what I'm saying? I'm just using that as an example. But he's saying there's a number where people are, and y'all continue to put your comments in. I'm close to my house, so I'll be able to get to it and read your comments, because it's so beautiful today. It's a glare on my phone from the sun. But I'm gonna get through the comments. Drop a super chat. It'll be in color if you want me to really see your comments, because there's probably, like I say, it can be thousands of comments made in my chat. So put your comment in. But he was like, yeah, like business owners, if we roll up on you and you got some illegal aliens in there, like, we shutting down your stuff. So Wendy's, KFC, Walmart, Target, y'all better make sure, Amazon, y'all better make sure that your workers got their paperwork in order, because they will shut down your business and think nothing of it. They're going to shut it down and arrest you. Yep. They will arrest you. So they're taking it serious. They said this situation is not anything temporarily. Like, this is here. This is what we're doing. This is here. We're here to stay. And let me talk about one thing that was brought to my attention. They talked about also in this press conference. Apparently there are people out there impersonating ICE agents. I saw maybe about a month or so ago where you can purchase attire, that has ICE agent attire online, like Amazon. And I'm like, wow, why are they doing that? Why is this out here? So apparently what's been happening is that people have been posing as ICE agents and rolling up on illegal aliens and basically bribing them or just threatening them, saying, hey, I'm gonna do this unless you do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when someone's kind of already trying to duck and hide and somebody roll up on them and say, hey, I got you, but I won't tell on you or take you in if you do this. There's probably gonna be people who are going to comply with whatever that person wants them to do because they don't want to be taken in. They don't want to be removed from their families. So if the person rolling up on them saying, yo, like, give me all the just money you got on you, and I just act like I didn't see you, it's a good chance that person is going to do it. That's a sad situation, but apparently that's a thing that's happening right now. So in the press conference, they talked about with the ICE agents, like where. And to me, everything that they said, it wasn't nothing that someone couldn't impersonate. So they were like, oh, well, we'll wear a vest that says ICE and this. We have a badge, which, you know, apparently on Amazon here, they sell that too. We got our badge. We got, you know, paperwork or whatever. But if we do learn of anyone doing such as posing as a federal agent, they will be dealt with. So if you are out here doing anything like that and you are caught, if someone finds out, you're in trouble. They're dealing with you because that's a felony charge. You're impersonating a federal agent is a felony charge. And that's what you're doing if you're doing that. Someone also asked, okay, well, because I think the people in the media, they were trying to figure out a way that people, something they can go off of to where they know if something is real or not. So they were like, okay, well, what about warrants? Does a real ICE agent maybe have a warrant? Because apparently, I guess some people are rolling up saying I'm ICE and they don't have a warrant. So the guy, the person from Homeland Security was like, hey, we don't have to have warrants when we roll up on you. He was like, if we're rolling up on you and it's pertaining to you being we're a potential illegal alien, he says, we do not have to have, the documents or whatever, a warrant. We do not have to have a warrant to come and apprehend you if it's centered around us believing that you are an illegal alien. That's what he said. So, like I said, everything that he said, there was nothing he said that had me that was like a strong indicator for a regular person to know if the person he said, sorry, I had a call come through. There's nothing he said. So hopefully, you know, people just will get scared when they learn about what type of charges they can get hit with if they're caught. But to me, it seems kind of easy for someone to impersonate an ICE worker. I know here in Georgia, a couple weeks ago, our Governor Kemp, said that he wanted to train some of the law enforcement workers to be able to assist with ICE workers to help with rounding up illegal aliens. So that's what's happening in Georgia. Remember, I'm a Republican ran state. So a lot of times it's what you get in these Republican ran states. They're very kind of like, listen, we're trying to have some order in the court. Like these Republican states want order. I happen to be someone who thrives in order, not chaos. So it works for me. So if you like that Chirac energy, Georgia probably not the place for you. Because you can try that mess if you want to, and they're going to handle you and raise you up out of here. So listen, life's about choices. What you want? You want Chirac? All right, go on, roll up to Chicago, Illinois. But if you want like your, shrimp and lobster, shrimp and lobster experience, then, Georgia is probably the direction you may want to head. I'm just saying. Very diverse state. So if you live, whatever kind of life you live, listen, Georgia, like, all right, we welcome them all. Just have some act right. Georgia, like, listen, we don't care how you roll, how you dressing, who you like. Just be on the up and up. Just be on the up and up. Don't be coming here wreaking havoc, tearing up stuff, breaking. Just don't be doing that. This ain't what you want. This is not Chirac. This is not Chirac. You need to get back on that Spirit flight, turn it around, and head on back up north. This ain't so. Georgia don't give Chirac. So I will tell you that if you know, you know. Georgia gives order. Georgia is very orderly. Georgia is a Republican ran state. And that's what you get out of a typically Republican ran state. Very diverse. Diverse. I like Georgia, so it's where I call home, where I'm raising my family. So check it out. If you've never been in Georgia, come visit. Super friendly. We have a lot going on here, a lot of events and things like that. City of Atlanta, our mayor, got a new mayor there, but I don't live in the city limits, so it ain't my mayor. But the mayor of Atlanta has a black male mayor. I'm not even sure his name. The original first one before him, what do they call it? The predecessor? Is that what you call it? Is that the right word? It was Kesha Lance Bottoms, a black woman. So typically within the city of Atlanta, it's going to be, heavy, like, Democratic type views and things like that. But as in all for the state of Georgia, it's ran historically by or at least right now, by a Republican governor. So that's basically who's running the show. Your governor is kind of the shot caller, not really your mayor. It's pretty much your governor. And we all know that governor in California with the slick hair and the gel. Listen, that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying our governor ain't like that. He ain't like that. So if you ain't here for what he giving, then Georgia may be the place for you, because he on some other stuff. I can't even remember his name. Let me see. What's that governor name in California? I don't ever be remembering his name, because he just don't seem like the sharpest knife in the drawer. He looks like he's just somebody who moves through life through his looks and his family name, maybe. His family has some money. That's what he gives. He gives one of those people. Like he's just, just privileged, lived a privileged life. And it wasn't, he didn't basically get into rooms based on his works. Newsom, I never remember that man's name, and I think I don't, because that's just, it's just, I just don't think highly of him at all. It's just like anytime you hear his name or see him, it's on some nonsense. Like, you like, what? You done what now? But one thing for sure, that hair gonna be fried out, laid to the side. He gonna have that slick back without a hair be just as perfect. He one of them time. I told y'all he gives that. He just, listen, long as he look good, that means his state ran well. That's how he judge if he winning. He judge if he winning by his hair day. If he has a good hair day, he said it is a good day in California. He ain't basing it off of, okay, if what the homeless numbers look like. He ain't basing it off of if his water's running in the pipes to put out fires. No. That man basing it off of how his hair is holding up for the day. Did it hold up for the San Francisco winds? Because it is windy in San Francisco. And he got that hair slicked back. Listen, that hair ain't going nowhere. That is to me what he's giving, how he assess how he doing based off of what they say. When you look good, you feel good. So he running around thinking he looking good and feeling good. So he feel like it's all good in California when it is going to hell. Nobody is saying anything good about California as far as the living experience there. Why is that? Why is that? Do you all think that if the leadership changed from a Democrat leader to a Republican leader, California would have a different experience? I mean, y'all, let's talk about it. What do you think? Do you think that if a Republican governor came in and replaced Newsom, would you see some movement? Meaning, like, would you start to see a decline with the homelessness, the cities looking cleaner, the rates of things maybe going down some? Let me know, because California, I haven't heard anything good about California in like a long time. In a long time, since I've been paying attention to politics, probably the last maybe 4 years. Like, it's been nothing. It's just been about California is just not what it used to be. It's just not the place to be. It's more so people trying to move away from California versus moving into California. Why is that? Why is that? Why is that? There's a reason there. Why is that? It's poorly ran. It's my home state. I'm from California. I'm from Northern California. It's a poorly ran state. It's not run well at all. At all. But because people focus more on party versus politics and what somebody is running on, you continue to get the same experience, have the same outcome. Definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So these states that are heavy Democrat ran, how do you look to have a different outcome and experience for your state if you're still voting for the same political party that all kind of have the same views and ideology? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. You got to come to a point to where it's like, you know what, we need to try something different, because this right here ain't working. I see how they doing in Florida or Georgia, and I see they own to something, but California, Illinois, you know, to me, it's like, when does it come a point to where people are like, yo, like, let me try to do something different, because right now this just not working. And we've been doing this for X amount of years, and this is the result we've been getting. But it just seems like collectively, people from the other side, they don't think that way. Well, my mama and grandmama and granddaddy, you know, this is how they voted. So this is how, like, a lot of people vote that way. Identity politics is real. Well, I was told that this is really how we should vote, because this is the one who care, because the other side, they rich. So because they rich, they don't care about us. But that's not true. And it's a lie that's been sold. And Democrats, I think, run on, a lot of times, those politicians, they run on this, like, it's almost like them against us type, okay, like as though they ain't rich too. You see what I'm saying? These Democrats be running around acting like they ain't got no money, like these people who they talking about. They got money too. But they want to focus on your impoverished life and have you to think that, okay, they're helping you get to it. They're helping you get to it, even though they didn't got to it the same way, or possibly in a more, you know, greasy way than the person, you know, the Republican. But they're trying to sell you on, well, I understand your pain, so I'm gonna help you out. And that's not true. It's not true. It's lies and propaganda. All right, I made it. Hold on. I'm gonna try to get through some of these comments. Ooh, it's so hot, but I made it. Good morning. It's not afternoon just yet, but I'm gonna scroll up and try to get through some of your comments. Please like the video. 57 likes, that's good. I'm not mad. 47 people right now. Let me see. I'm gonna try to go up. Let me see. Find a place. What's up, Brat Baby? I don't know if you're still in here. I haven't seen you in a minute. All right, Brat Baby said they just did a drug bust at the university close to me and found a bunch of meth and illegal immigrants. Where you live at, Brat Baby, if you're still in here? Where was that? Orlando says 60, amazing. Yes, and they're not even talking about it on like your big news networks. They don't want to talk about that, because to talk about that means you have to acknowledge that what Trump did was like good. It's a win for him, because that bust wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for him pushing for it to happen, for ICE to do their jobs fine. I don't know what ICE been doing for the past 4 years, because if they weren't rounding nobody up, like, what else do they do? What else do they do if they weren't rounding anybody up? What was ICE doing? What were they doing? As we want to talk about people earning their paychecks and doing their jobs, let's talk about what ICE been doing for 4 years. I don't know what all go in their job description, but we know that rounding up folks is a part of it. And if folks wasn't get rounded up, then what the freak was they doing? I'm just saying, y'all come on here to ask questions, because I'll be just as confused and wanting to know and trying to figure it out just like the next person. The difference between maybe me and you is that I got a channel and I'm coming out here posing my questions. But y'all be having these same questions. Don't act like I'm the only one that just be wondering ish. Listen, what ICE been doing for 4 years while they been collecting a check? What they been doing, y'all know, it's probably warrants at least probably like a $60,000 job. Y'all, somebody put in the chat, how much ICE workers make? While we talking about who been working at home, y'all think these ICE workers been talking about, I'm a remote worker. Y'all, what it's given is that these ICE workers are remote. They like sheep. We don't go on, we remote. We be at home. I work for home. I've been working for home for 4 years. Trump, what do you mean I need to be outside going to do what? Well, sir, officer, I mean, your job, you work for ICE. You round up people you round up people who aren't supposed to be here. But, sir, but that mean I got to go outside and I got to be driving around and risk my life and I got to go knock on doors. Sir, where Biden at? Where's Biden at? Because what you talking on some other stuff, where's Biden? Because I've been at home for 4 years. I've been at home for 4 years. I'll sign on Teams. We'll talk about the immigration numbers and, what our numbers looking like in the USA. And then we say, okay, we'll pick back up next week and we'll talk about it again, about how the numbers are continuing. Listen, you talking about I need to go outside and do what? And put my life on the line and roll up on these people that you said they ain't supposed to be here? Let's talk about it. What have ICE been doing for the past 4 years? Because it's given remote work. They've been at home. Not even hybrid. Hybrid, you at home sometimes. Then you work. This is given. They've been 100% at home. Like like the other federal government workers. They've been at home too. ICE has been on remote jobs. Oh, Lord. Like, for real. Y'all, I'm just saying. What some of y'all probably been thinking. But I'm crazy enough to say it. ICE been remote workers for 4 years. They mad at Trump then came in and messed up their little hustle. Them the ones who was at why Trump looking at them other ones who said y'all ain't been doing nothing. Hell, them ICE workers. Them the ones that's been remote workers for the past 4 years. Because they sure ain't been removing nobody off no streets. Because the numbers wouldn't have been out of control the way that they are. Y'all know I've talked about it on my other lives with how out of control the immigration numbers are for the USA. Hold on, let me. All right. These numbers wouldn't be out of control if ICE was doing their jobs. I'm just saying. Yvonne said ICE was forced to stand down with the previous party. So yes, that means they was at the house. What else they gonna do? If they standing down, they don't need to. They remote workers. They don't need to be outside. Why I need to be outside in the cold if I can't do nothing? You saying that I can't round up nobody because of whatever? Okay, well I'll be at the house. You know, call me on this company cell phone if you need me. But like, what am I doing? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's given that they have been at the house. They've been at the house with their heels kicked up. With their heels kicked up. Brolana says, Chic, is in all of Georgia diversity. I kind of got nervous outside of the metro Atlanta area. Yeah, I mean, it's of course, as you move away from the city and go into the more rural areas, the suburbs, like further out, like kind of where I am, you'll start to move away from diversity. But if you're pretty much within like the metro, just do your search around metro Atlanta. Anything within metro Atlanta is pretty much going to be pretty much okay to live in. It's kind of when you start, moving outside of that metro Atlanta circle where it's the diversity is not going to be there like that. But metro Atlanta is huge. So I would just say do your search based off of metro Atlanta. And just check, any place that you're interested in relocating to. I would always recommend that you do a boots on the ground type of experience where you actually take a trip there, go there, get a feel of the environment, do your research on the stats as far as what the demographics of the different races and cultural groups are. Like, do all your homework, but just go off of how you feel. Go off of how you feel. So I'm within metro Atlanta, outside of the city, but within metro Atlanta. So I'm about an hour away from the city. So I'm in the suburbs. So where I live, it's diverse. Blacks, whites, Hispanics. The Hispanic number probably going to go down. Y'all know how that is. But it's a diverse location. But over time, more and more people of color are starting to move out to where I am because what's happened is that a lot of people of color are because of the whole gentrification, it's real here in Georgia as well. A lot of the cities in particular, like Atlanta, they're starting to be like regentrified, meaning that like they're building it up. So what was maybe once a zip code that was predominantly one race, maybe black, it's not anymore because they are just rebuilding, putting high price tags on these condos, houses, like to live within at the city of Atlanta. Like you're definitely a six-figure earner. You got multiple jobs. If you're not on a six-figure earn, if you can't make it do what it do on one income, you got multiple streams of income. A lot of people in Atlanta get to it in multiple ways. You have a lot of business owners here. So a lot of times people got multiple streams of income. But Atlanta, it's a beautiful city, but it's very expensive and it's pushing out a lot of people who can't afford it. So when people are pushed out of the city, they're going into the suburbs like my area. So my area, is starting to reflect more people of color because it's going to be more affordable than the city. So that's kind of how that works. Orlando said that Kesha Lance Bottoms resigned. I got to research why she left. She did resign. The reason she gave, I think, was to be just with her family, her children. I think she's married with maybe about 4 kids. I think her reason was to be at home with her children. That was the reason she gave. I believe she resigned just because of just with politics. I just think that everything just got to be a bit much, and she tapped out. I believe her husband, he's an attorney. Kesha Lance Bottom is by trade an attorney as well, but I think while she was still the mayor, he was still working, I think, in the field as an attorney. But I just think that she made a decision based off of what was best for her and her family, and I'm pretty sure she probably got a lot of unwanted email threats. You know how that go. You talking a language that people aren't here for, and I just think that she bowed out and was like, forget it, I'd rather just not run. I'm hearing talks that she may considered running for, I think, governor, I guess, when Mayor Kemp term is up. I think I've heard talks of her possibly running for governor. When she was mayor, she was at odds with our governor. I think that was back with the George Floyd thing that was like heavy in the news when Kesha was the mayor. And there were things, and I think even during the pandemic, there was some things. I think that was the main strife that took place with her and our governor during the pandemic. Governor Kemp wanted to move one way. Kesha wanted to move another way. I think Kesha was more so on the tip of wanting to keep things shut down because of COVID, the C-19. And like a lot of people, they were nervous, afraid. A lot of Democratic states wanted to be like really strict with how people were moving in the midst of, during the pandemic because of the concern of the spread of the C-19 and all of that. And then you had our Governor Kemp, who was like, yeah, but we got to get things open. Businesses are not making money. People can just wear their masks, but it's optional. Like pretty much our governor was on this tip of let's open the world back up. Let's open Georgia back up and let people make their own decision on how they want to move versus dictating how one should move. So that was a theme that I saw with the difference between also with hey, good morning, Sherwin. That was also a theme I saw with Republican states. They were like, Florida was also one. Florida probably was the first one that kind of opened up things and said, hey, we got to get back to business. I think Georgia followed shortly after that. Georgia was like, yes, hey, we got to get back to it. We can't, people like these kids need to go back to school. They're not learning at home. The kids are falling behind. And then you had like California, like your Democrat states that was more so wanting to still keep things closed, or if things were open, having these strict guidelines saying you needed to have the jab, you need to wear your mask, all these rules and things that had me to say, yeah, that would never be a place I'd call home again as far as my residence. I'm always a California at heart. I'll always represent, hey, I'm from California, from Northern California. But it's for a long time I have not desired to ever lived there as an adult. Yep. I left when I was maybe like 15, and I've just visited several times since I've left, but I don't think it's a state that's ran well. And I don't think most people will argue with me on that one. I don't think they will. But Georgia's a state that's ran very well. Get into it, research it. Where I live, we have great schools. Um, yeah, it's nothing that I can say bad about Georgia. Everywhere you go, it's going to have its pros and its cons. So it just comes down to what that pros and cons list look like, and are you here for those cons? Like, are you like, I can work through that? What are your deal breakers? You got to figure out what your deal breakers are, because a deal breaker of yours may be something that we have in this state. So you just got to figure that out for yourself. But definitely check out any place like in person before you pick up and move there. That's my recommendation, because everything isn't what it is based off of just the internet. I just think that this is something where I talk about some things you experience for yourself. I think when you're wanting to call a place home, I think you want to make sure that you do your due diligence and do your proper research before you actually uproot you and even your family. It just makes sense to me. But yeah, do as you will. We grown folks gonna do what they gonna do. What they say, grown folks gonna do what grown folks gonna do. But just making sure that you're just moving in a way that's not detrimental to the babies who rely on how we as grown folks move. You can't be out here moving stupid. We got kids who are dependent on us. Orlando says, yes, it's ridiculous. My brother lives in Midtown. The prices are insane. Yeah. It says, Chic, what's the average home price in Atlanta? So probably in your inner city of Atlanta is probably going to be probably about close to 600,000. I live so within Metro Atlanta. So when you leave outside of the city limits, right now I'm seeing new houses, new construction, the sign being 500,000 plus. So if you want a single family home, it's 500,000 plus. Well, with that being said, let me take that back. If that's what I'm seeing in my community, 500,000 plus for a single family home in the city of Atlanta, it is going to be 700,000 plus because it's more expensive. So in the suburbs within Georgia, a lot of people refer to that as Atlanta. In the suburbs, 500,000 for a townhouse. That's going to start at 400,000. Maybe you may see some in the threes, but closer to probably like 400,000 after it's said and done for a townhouse in Metro Atlanta. So 500,000 plus minimum. And a lot of times the things you got to watch out for is you'll see these signs and it'll say what the starting price is. But when you go inside and start talking to them, the price is far higher than that. That's just how they're getting you in to have a conversation with you. That's how they're getting you in the door. So then when you come in, they're like, well, yes, but if you want these cabinets, if you want doors, if you want some knobs, this is the price. So now they piecemeal they nickel and diming you for the different things in the house. So that sign talked about 500,000, but really the cheapest house is going to be probably 520, 530. You see what I'm saying? So if you want to come to Georgia and buy a home, your price point, you need to you minimum you need to be qualifying for 400,000. And that number will have you to at least even be able to qualify, get a home in a non-desirable community like the hood. The houses in the hood are going to be around 300,000, 250 to 300,000. And those houses are going to need some work done. You're going to need plumbing done. You're going to need some windows. You're going to need doors put on. That's a fixer-upper. In Georgia, a fixer-upper is close to around 300,000, 275. That's the fixer-upper. Miss X says, yes, she, that's like my state. What state are you in? Brat Baby, I missed it. What state are you in, Brat Baby? And Miss X, what state are you in? You all let me know where you live and what are the prices of house going. So let me talk about housing. As we talk about housing, I was listening to this real estate content creator because y'all, I told y'all I be moving around. You got to get tapped in. So he lives in Texas, and he showed this house, Montana, Brat Baby, Brat Baby. They got black folks in Montana. What our numbers looking like in Montana? Because that's just not a place you hear black folks. You don't see Marcus talking about, yes, because in Montana, this is how we roll it in Montana. You just don't. You just don't see nobody rapping and look like me talking about Montana, like we ride or die in Montana. I'm just saying, Brad Baby, let me know what them statistics. Listen, what's the demographics in Montana? Brolana, you said you considering spots to move. Will you consider Montana? Brad Baby, rep your city. Brad Baby, rep your city. But back to Texas, the guy showed this house that was on the market. Been on the market for like a year, like 300 something days. I think like we're right at a year. It had taken a price cut of like 100,000. So now the price cut, let's just say it was down, that house was down to like $405,000. $400,000. Do you know that when he looked up, so from the link or the website where he was looking at these housing, the houses, there was a link where he was able to click on the taxes to see, okay, what are the taxes? Because, right, you're expecting that the taxes should be assessed based on the cost of the house, right? Remember, we had just seen the house listed at, let's say, 400,000. Can't remember the exact number, but it had already been on the market for like a year and taken like $100,000 at least price cut. House at 400,000. Y'all, why when that man clicked on the link to look at the taxes, it had the house assessed at a value of $500,000. So what that means is that whoever buys that house, they will be paying taxes based on $500,000, not the $375 that they may likely pay for that house. Because remember, it keeps going down. Every time when the homeowner relists it with a new agent, they drop the price. But when that house is still listed in that real estate system, you're able to still see the historical data to know what originally was listed at, the original date it was posted. All of that is still running data. So this particular house that's now showing for sale at 400,000, because remember, the price keeps going down. Taxes are assessed at 500,000. So what that means is that the person who comes in and purchases that house at 400,000, maybe even they may purchase it less than that, their taxes is going to be based on the $500,000 number. Again, as we talk about these property taxes and having to pay property taxes, and they base it off of what they assess your property value to be, who's assessing these homes? What are you basing the property value on? Because property value should be based on what someone is willing to pay for your house. So if someone's only willing to pay $375 for my house, how does it make sense for someone else to assess my house being at 500,000 and saying I need to pay taxes at 500,000? It's that for me. The math is not mathing. So you're already going in your home basically in the negative, upside down. Make that ish make sense. So even though we're seeing these headlines where interest rates are going down and things like that, it's still a buyer's market, which means that a lot of these homes are still sitting on the market for long lengths of time. They're not moving fast like they once did. Florida, the governor DeSantis recently talked about it and said how the property there isn't moving like it once did, because people are afraid to purchase homes because they're afraid of the taxes. Like, y'all know it's bad when you're like, yo, I can afford to buy this house, but what I can't afford is the taxes. Ain't that crazy? Like, really think about it. I can afford to buy this $400,000 house, but what I can't afford is the property taxes, because every year it's somebody else that's assessing my property value and determining how much my property is, and every year they're going up. But my income isn't going up. Let me get into these comments, y'all. Y'all know I be going off. Come on in here. Like the video. Brolena says, I've never been, but I've heard Montana is gorgeous. Brad Baby says, yes, my dad was born here too. Okay, Brad Baby, rep your city, rep your city. Montana in the house. I know that's, so maybe I'll add it to the list of places to check out. This year I'm going to DC, so spring break. I've never been there. And Texas, Houston, Texas, in the fall. I'm taking a trip there. So I don't know, Brad Baby. Do I need to add Montana to the list? Because when I say I ain't never heard nobody talking about, yeah, Montana is where it's at. Y'all wearing cowboy boots, hats. What y'all doing in Montana? Y'all boots on the ground? Y'all boots on the ground? Y'all doing them TikTok? What y'all doing in Montana? What's really going on in Montana? What's really going on? Brolena want to know, are people inclusive? Listen, Brolena said, listen, I'm trying to find a new zip code. Brolena, where you say you live at right now? Where did you say you live at right now? Because Brolena said, I'm trying to move around, but I need to make sure that these people going to be acceptant of me and my biracialness. I'm going to need for them to accept all that I give. I know that's right. Do your research, girl. Brolena, what are you congratulating? You said congrats at Miss X. I just read your comment. I maybe missed it. Brad said, Brolena is pretty diverse in the larger cities. The college towns are more liberal. People here do not like outsiders, though. Not necessarily a race thing, just people coming from out of the state. So, Brolena, it sounds like Montana is big on culture, where they have a way of how they like to do things. So when you're coming from someplace else and from different cultures, you ain't really trying to get in line with the Montana way. So I think I see what you're talking about, Brat Baby. So listen, Montana, like, listen, we locked in. If y'all don't like how we do things here, y'all gonna need to move around. That's all I got. You're gonna need to move around. Go on to Georgia. She said they take all in Georgia. They take all in Georgia. Rolanda says, okay, thanks. I've been wanting to visit. I heard it's gorgeous. Go and check it out, Rolanda. Let us know. Brad Baby says the northwest part of the state does have some white nationalist weird stuff going on, but the majority of the state outcasts that. Okay. All right. Brad Baby says it's a great place to visit. People are super friendly. They just over people moving here. Yep, Spain. Okay, Brolena, you say you're in Spain. Okay. Brolena says, I have 2 countries. Brad says it's a great place to visit. We go to Yellowstone all the time, and I'm going to Glacier this summer. Brolena says, Dad is from Spain. My mom is the U.S. Okay. All right, then. Well, yeah, we're welcome to have you. Definitely look into it. Do your research. U.S. is it's a large country. It's a lot to choose from. So do your research and visit and just see where you land. And if you go someplace and you like, this ain't it, then move. Get in your car and drive to the next state and try that one out. Trial and error, because sometimes we do not always get it right. DJ says, show support. I'm purchasing a super chat. Thank you so much, Dr. J. Yep, you can purchase a super chat. I will read your comment. It doesn't matter what amount. I am appreciative. Rolena says, I've lived in Alabama, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and North Carolina. So, okay, you've tried and tested some. Much of these states I've never visited. I've driven through Alabama. I've never had a reason to stop and get out the car. But it is a neighboring state, so it's just like right there. So I'm just going through it all the time as I travel. Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Carolina. I don't feel like I've been through any of those states either, unless I drove through them with traveling to other states, but never stopped through any of those. Brolena says, my reason was my mom being from Alabama. Okay, you said that's your reason. You said because you showed and just picked to just show up to Alabama. Who going to Alabama just on GP? Who is going to Alabama just on GP? Yeah, so, Alabama, it's next door or whatever. Brad Baby said, I lived in the suburbs of Chicago where my husband is from, and that's a no for me. Great place to visit, though. Yes, I have Chicago on the bucket list to visit, mainly because of the food. I hear they have great food. They used to have this place. I don't know if they still had it, the Taste of Chicago. I think I've heard it's not like what it used to be, but I do want to visit Chicago, just because I've heard great things about the food. Listen, I like food. Even though I'm small, I be walking. See, that's why I gotta be out here walking. I gotta exercise because I like food. I like to eat. Berlana says Chicago is great, but definitely not to live for me either. So yeah, no desire to live there. But I do want to visit. I do want to visit. I want to see, because listen, like outside of hearing about the food, listen, Chirac, the things I hear about Chicago, it don't have me just running to go there like that. But I want to visit for like the tourist experience, uh, so I can eat good. I want to visit. There's just so many places here in the U.S. that I'd like to visit. I want to go to Arizona. So there are places where I've driven through, but never like have like gotten out the car and visited. So it's a lot here in the U.S. To take in. So it's a big country. So that's the beautiful thing about being here in the U.S. You can have a really nice vacation while still being in your country. You do not have to go someplace that needs your passport or birth certificate. Move around. And I encourage everyone to visit different places, because that's how you kind of become versed on just what's going on around our country, around the world, because everyone do not live the same. Bramlana said the U.S. is enormous. It is. Everyone don't live the same. And you really see that when you visit and move around and tour these places and get into conversations with people. I'm a people person, so I love all of that. I like to get into conversations and, um, just learn how people feel about the place they call home. And then I take those experiences and I bring it back to you all. And as I talk about the current events and the things that take place, I insert my stories on personal experiences of those places. Some of you may have heard me talk about Cuba, my trip to Cuba. A lot of you probably haven't. A lot of you are new to my channel. Welcome. I'll share that story with you. Miss X says Utah has so many beautiful national parks. I love to go walk here in Georgia. Georgia has a lot of parks as well, but most of the time it's the community, what do you call that? The county parks that I'm going to. I haven't been to a state park in a long time, but I like to visit parks. I like to walk. That's why I'm most excited really about going to DC. I'm excited about just being able to just boots on the ground, just walk it out and just take in the city. Berlana says, I literally can drive 5 hours today and be in Paris, France. But if I drive 5 hours in the U.S., I literally haven't gotten anywhere. Berlana says, oh, I love D.C. Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited. So I'll be there next week. We'll see how it goes. I may live stream a bit from there. But it's family time. It's spring break. So just, make sure you have your notification bell on so you know when I go live. But that is where I will be next week. But as I talk about traveling, I traveled to Cuba. I traveled to Cuba in 2019. It was before the pandemic. I went to Paris, France in 2018. That was when I got my passport. I got my passport for that trip that I went with my sister's girls trip to Paris. My takeaway from Paris. Paris was beautiful. It was lovely. I'm just real picky with my food. My sisters as well. So we struggled with the food selection because I stayed where our hotel was. Very nice hotels. The room super small. But it was just right outside of where, like, we were probably like within 10 minutes walking distance of the Eiffel Tower. 10, 15 minutes. And it was nice. Now, somebody did pickpocket me on the first day. I will tell you that. They sure did. They sure did. So I have this habit of putting my phone in my back pocket. And before I traveled there, I had some other family members who live in Las Vegas. My family is from California and Las Vegas. That's where my people at. I'm from California, but my family originated from like Las Vegas and things. So they took a trip, did the whole Paris thing, Europe. Like they did like this 3-week trip. So they were talking to my sister about it. And they were like, okay, don't do this, don't do that, don't put your phone in your pocket, all that stuff that I did. First day there, had my cell phone in my back pocket. We were walking around, just trying to explore, trying to, figure out what we're going to do for the next day. And it's at night at this point. We had walked over to like where the Eiffel Tower was, whatever. And remember, I had my phone in my pocket. So me and my sister, we're walking. I have sisters that are twins. So it's 3 girls. I'm the oldest. 9 months. I'm like not even a full year. No street cred there has been the oldest. But I am technically the oldest. We're just 9 months apart. So we're walking and this guy trips behind. He bumps into me. He's like, oops. And he kind of bumps into me like he tripped into me. And after he did that, my natural thought was to feel on my behind in my back pocket because I knew I had my phone there. And after I went to feel for my phone, I didn't feel it. It wasn't there. So then when I looked back ahead, it was a young guy. It was 2 guys. It was just like an Asian guy that kind of did the bump into me play. The other guy was like a black guy, mixed looking guy. So I see him struggling because my phone had like a big fat case, one of those big old bulky case. And he couldn't slide it in his pocket quickly when he tried to, hide my phone. Because remember, he had just pickpocketed me and got my phone. So he couldn't be, smooth with it like normal, probably, because I had this big old, listen, I'm always dropping my phone. I need all the protection I can get when it comes to electronics because I'm not a techie like that. So I'm going to jack up, break some, I'm the worst. So I had that big outer box type phone case. He could not slide my phone in his pocket because of my case. So it just messed up his whole little situation. So after that, I seen him trying to slide my phone in his pocket. So I say out loud to my sister, I'm like, he got my phone. He got my phone. Now my sisters, listen, my sisters are about that life. They about that life. They about that life. My sister's like, hold up. They went ham. They start going in on the guy. Give her phone. You better listen. Scared the hell out the tourists, the people. They like, these some different type of tourists. Where y'all from? Scared that boy. That boy looked like he probably was maybe about 20. My sister like, you don't listen, there wasn't no police in tow at that moment. Because normally we was always seeing police. But of course, when you need them, they're not around. In that moment, one of my twin sisters scared the hell out. Listen, Linda, listen. That boy was so shook. He down there probably want to just shake his own self down and just give her his phone. He handed her over my phone so fast. Mind you, as my sister then ran up on him, his friend and left him. So he dealing with us in our American energy by himself. Because old boy who he was with then took the hell off and went. I don't know where he went. But he left him to deal with all the smoke. I'm sure they wonder what the hell we came from. They like, where these tourists come from? Because whatever happened to taking an L? These some different type of tourists. Because never in my days have I got a shakedown from the person I told you, my twins, y'all, they about that life. They got a different kind of energy than me. Listen, don't start nothing, won't be none either, but listen, the twins, it's in a whole different kind of way. It's in a different kind of way. It's in a different kind of way. So the students scared the hell out of him. He quickly handed over my phone. Oh, I got my phone back. I wonder, did he get his friend back? Were they friends after that? Because old boy straight left him. He left him. But I always laugh when I think about the story because, remember, we're tourists and the robber is now shook and handing over. Listen, this how it went down. Day one in Paris, France. That's how it went down right outside the Eiffel Tower. So that's on that. So our hotel was in the area. But so we struggled with food because it had like the authentic Paris, like the French foods, the stuff you read in the menu. We don't speak French. We didn't know what the heck it was saying. Didn't cross my mind to be pulling out no apps and trying to translate. Listen, all I know is I don't know what that's saying. And what we learned from the family members who had already visited Paris, France, they said, listen here. When you go to a restaurant and you get served a meal and you don't like it, That's your problem. They gonna be like, all right then, well, you still paying for that, but if you want to place another order for us to try you something else, we can do that too. So because we knew what type of time they was on, we were reluctant on ordering certain, foods, because we like, okay, what if we don't like it? Because it ain't no take backs. And we witnessed that firsthand there was so happened, you all, the first night we had dinner. So this is probably coming off after I got pickpocketed that same night. We're at a restaurant and we're just trying to be safe with ordering. I think what we ordered, I don't know if we was real just safe with it on what we ordered. But there was a table next to us that didn't get the memo that parents don't do no takebacks. So it was a mother and daughter, ironically, from Georgia, and they had placed an order. And I think the daughter, she was a young adult. She didn't like her food. And that man, in his little language, and he tried the best he could to speak in French, but whatever it was, the message was, you gonna still pay for that, but we can go back in the kitchen and get you something else. We can get you another plate, but you finna still have this plate, and we gonna get you another plate, and you gonna pay for all the plates. They wasn't ready. They wasn't ready. But we had gotten the memo. So we already knew. They didn't get the memo. So they had all this food that they had to pay for. Half of it they didn't even eat. Because listen, they like, we don't know how they roll in the USA, but we don't do no take backs over here. It's like back in the day, your mom said, you finna eat what I put on this table. You finna eat all this food. You ain't getting up off the table until you eat this was what Paris was giving. And this is what Paris was giving. You ain't leaving here unless you run me my money, because we brought it out. Now, you said it was nasty. It ain't what you thought it was. That's your business. That is a personal problem. So that was my experience in Paris. So I didn't study. I didn't do my research enough when it came to the food. But when we went into the shopping district, probably like the next day, we took a bus over into like the shopping district. Now they did have all of like those foods, the American foods, like your KFC, Burger King, Five Guys, your expensive shops, Prada, Gucci, so it was beautiful. Like they had everything there, but that's not the area where we were staying. So you had to kind of take a bus to go over there. So that was kind of my experience. Very beautiful. Got a lot of gorgeous pictures. Would want to go back only just to take in, just because I went with my sister's girls trip. But I'd like to go back with probably like with my husband, because he enjoys walking too. So we can kind of take in the scenery. We can check out the shops. Zara was my first time shopping in the store. Zara, we have one apparently here in Atlanta. It's kind of expensive type clothing store. My sister that scared the hell out the robber, she was like, that's my store. So listen, she's definitely not what, listen, what they say, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't think because somebody cute, they ain't gonna roll up on you. But she said, she's familiar with Zara here in the U.S., so we do have Zara around the perimeter in Georgia. But in Paris, it was my first time becoming aware of such a store. So, but definitely, check it out for yourself. Do your research. Don't be putting your phone in your pocket, because they will roll up on you and get you. And you likely probably won't get yours back if you ain't got no sisters like I do. You just gonna be got, and just gonna have the memory of that old phone you used to have. So grateful for my about it sisters in that moment. All right, let me get through some of these comments. So I'm gonna get to Cuba. I'll get to my story about my experience in Cuba. So nonetheless, Paris, France, I couldn't wait to get back home. More of the story is, when we leaving, I listen, I couldn't wait to get back home. It was a short trip. I was there like 3 days, really short, but it was enough for me, because by the time I left, I was so backed up. Because remember, I was eating only things I can understand on the menu. So that was going to be like breads. So pastas, because it's next door to Italy. So I was eating a lot of the French food. So I was eating pasta, and I was eating pizza and bread, rolls, beignets. When I say my body had never yearned for greens, I remember the last day we were there, we walked around for hours trying to find a restaurant where I can get a salad, get some greens, some fruits, some vegetables. Then we get to this restaurant, and they talking about, oh, we only got one salad left. my body was going into shock because it was like the way I was eating. It was just different. Like you're not walking around and seeing like a grocery store, like a Walmart. Like, that's not what you're seeing. It's like you're seeing like it's like stands. Maybe someone will have a stand set up where they're selling some produce like that, and you gotta like take it home to prepare yourself. Remember, we just had this small hotel room that we were staying. Hotel room. We were sharing the same hotel room, very small, and so it was. Listen, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, but I know I was ready for that flight back home. I know that. I know that. I was ready for that flight back home. Brett says, I'm scared to leave the country. Honestly, my husband was in the Marines and has been everywhere and wants to go back to Japan the most. I don't feel like traveling, moving around, going to different countries is something to be afraid of. But what I always want to know is what the demographic, what the black demographic, what the what that looks like, because I want to do my research to see how welcoming they are for people like in these other countries, to people who look like me. If it's not a country that primarily have people that look like me. So just for safety, I think it's just good to just research to see how these other places respond to people that look like you. If you're someone, if you're going into a country and you don't look like what you're about to go and be around, do your research and see, are they receptive to people who come from the other countries? That is because my husband, he's never been in the military, but he's always been about, he loves the Asian countries. He wants to go to Japan, all these countries, New Zealand, like all Ireland, all these countries. And I'm like, okay, but I need to know, like, my question is always, every time he talks about, oh, hey, I'm going to go here or whatever, I'll be like, well, what the numbers looking, how many people look like me? Like, that is the question I have. And I think it's a fair question because you need to understand where you're going. That's anywhere you go, just to get an idea, to try to prepare the best you can with what you are about to embark on. And it's not about being in fear, but just being prepared, being aware. What I found also from my experience when I went to Paris, I remember when we were on a bus, and I think this was the bus when we were going into the city, the shopping district. The people that were on the bus that were like sitting there, they were rude. You know how like what I'm used to here in where I live in Georgia, I'm in the South, so they're big on like hospitality. Thank you, excuse me, yes ma'am, no sir, like that. That is kind of what I'm used to. Well, in Paris, oh, then people, they can walk all over you, whatever. Excuse me. Oh, that ain't coming out nobody's mouth. So you about ready to daggone fight somebody because you looking for them to have some type of etiquette. But remember, I'm from America. I'm used to moving a certain way. So when you do go to these countries, you have to take into an account that it's very different there and they move differently. And there was a couple of times, I remember, so that was that. And then one time when we were at, like, I think we were trying to get some beignets. We were at this stand near the Eiffel Tower one night. And I was standing up there in line to place my order. And it was like somebody came and it's almost like they jumped the line and got in front of me. And I had to kind of, now I don't know if they can understand what the hell I was saying, but I had to talk my talk. Because it's just like they was just moving, coming into my space, just being rude and just a complete disregard to just me as a person. And I will say in both situations, it wasn't people that was of my skin complexion that were moving like this. So I don't know how racism is impaired, like, but I know from my personal experience, the rude encounters that I had from people, it was people of the palm colored people and not people that look like me. That's so. When I say I couldn't wait to get on that plane to head back home, yes. So it's definitely not a place that I would choose to call home. But I would visit it. But it's after I visited a bunch of other places before I spin the block and make my way back to Paris, France. But I got a lot of lovely pictures. So I can say I went. I survived Paris, France, but it was beautiful. Like, yeah. I would say, check it out if you have the opportunity. Check out, go where you can. Now, I will say places that I'm not rushing to try to experience is like those Islamic country places like Iran, Iraq. For a long time, I had no desire really even to go to Dubai. I'll go probably Dubai before any of them, but like any of like those type of countries, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, like those countries, it's a no for me. If I do go to any Islamic, countries that are primarily, where there's Islamic people, Dubai is probably just the only one, and that's not high up on my list, but I've seen some people vlog from there and it looked beautiful, so it had me to be like, okay, because for a long time I'm like, I don't care how much lights they got, how many lights they got shining at night. I don't care. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. So I've seen some, some things, some people who've vlogged from there. Brolena says Morocco is nice. Taylor says, what about India? No. Taylor made no. And you, no. I'm not interested in going to try the goop scoop. How many of you are familiar with the goop scoop? It's a dish that the Indian in India they make on the roads where they set up shop and you walk through and you do your shopping and you can stop by and get you a plate. And the Indian, you're seeing them go ham. They using hands, feet, no exaggeration to blend the ingredients. They call it goop scoop. Goop scoop. So they'll have a big pot. They got enough to feed everybody, and they'll give you a good portion, a good healthy portion. And when I say healthy, I'm not saying it's healthy to where your system is going to thrive in it. It's probably going to start to shut down, and you might make your way to the local hospital because your body going to go into shock. It's going to go into shock. Everything in your body going to start probably shutting down. I've watched people go over there and do the challenge and say, I'm going to go over to India, get some of the goop scoop, and just see how it goes. And I have yet to see a story of someone who's not Indian where their body was able to handle the goop scoop. The goops, it's almost like I feel like in India and, being used to eating a certain way. And that can be the case in just wherever you go, where you become accustomed to the things that are in your foods. So apparently in India, the Indians, they're accustomed to all what comes off of the feet and the hands that goes into the pots because they are using feet and hands to blend the ingredients. I know some of you may be used to using gloves, using spoons. But in India, no, they don't find the need for that. In India, they say, well, what's the need for that? You have 2 hands, you have 10 fingers, and you have 2 feet, you have 10 toes. We will use all 10 fingers and we will use all 10 toes and the feet, the bottoms of the feet, to blend these ingredients. We will give you a healthy portion in your to-go container, so you will have enough to share for your fellow neighbor. This is the Goop Scoop. If you have not seen the Goop Scoop, get into the Goop Scoop. It is all over the Instagram. This is how I got introduced to the Goop Scoop. It is real. It is real. If you are up for the challenge of giving it a try, please make sure you tap back in on my channel, She Speaks on it, to let us know how it went. I would do you another one. Please vlog it. Record yourself because you may need it. You may need it. It may be that very thing, that footage needed to tell the story of what the hell happened to you. Because you may no longer be with us to tell us. So go ahead and document it. Document that entire experience. Listen, and I ain't even making this up, y'all. This is listen, get into the Goop Scoop. So it's a no for me for that. India is not on the bucket list. Welcome for those of you who are from India. But yeah, it's a hard pass for me. Now, on to Cuba. Excuse me. Welcome. Please like the video if you're in here. We got 70 people watching, 68 likes. Like the video. Miss X said, a hard pass for the good scoop. No, it's goop. G-O-O-P. It ain't nothing good about it. Goop. G-O-O-P scoop. Goop scoop. Google it. There's many videos out there. Excuse me. There's many videos out there showing how the goop scoop is made. On to Cuba. So I went to Cuba. I went to Cuba in 2019 for that hot split second, that hot minute that it was open for American citizens to be able to go over there. It was a last minute trip actually for me. So I wasn't prepared to go to Cuba like that, to where I, did my research to kind of know what to expect. So I wasn't ready. Just like with Paris friends, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for Cuba either, but I wasn't ready in a different kind of way for Cuba. So I experienced Cuba. Taylor Capade said, goop scoop, get into the goop scoop. Cuba, I went there on a cruise. Cuba is a very impoverished country. It's ran under a dictatorship. And from the looks of it, when you're there, you can tell. It looks just like, the movies. You know how you'll watch a movie and it's supposed to be filmed from like the 70s, and you notice like the lighting, it's not all bright and stuff. It's kind of like dull and dark. It ain't no lights. What they say, light camera action. You're not seeing the lights in Cuba. There's no lights. It's dull. It's gray. It's no fluorescent, nothing. Everything is ran down, partially done. It's I said I've never been to Montana, but I'm gonna say it's not giving Montana. It's certainly not giving Georgia or any other place in the USA. It's on some other type of stuff. It's old. I mean, it's run down. Everybody just look homeless. I'm just like, okay, so where do the people with money go? Where do they go? Where do they go? Where are the hotels? Where are people staying? If I were to say, hey, I'm coming to Cuba and I'm gonna stay X amount of days, where am I staying? Because I did not see any hotels that looked to be the place where tourists go to stay at. I was confused. So I went to Havana, Cuba. I was confused by why somebody would choose to vacation there because of the way it looked. The cars are old. So what did they, like the 70s. So that's real. So you ain't driving and seeing somebody driving a Honda Accord, a Tesla, a Hummer, a Mercedes. You're not seeing that when you go to Cuba. You're seeing, you're going to see a Cutlass, a Seville. You're seeing older cars. The cars, remember the old show Happy Days? Any of those cars you seen in the show Happy Days? Some of y'all, depending on how old you are, you may not know, you may not know what I'm talking about. Happy Days was a popular show, sitcom that aired in, the 90s. I remember watching it as a kid, really enjoying it. I'm born in 80. I'm 44. So any of those vehicles you've seen in the show Happy Days, those are the vehicles you'll see in Cuba. Those are the type of vehicles they are driving around in. Cuba, you know how like we talk about gentrification, and you see buildings that are partially done and you see people working on them. When I was in Cuba, I didn't see nobody working on nothing, but I seen a lot of half-done stuff. A lot of projects to where it was started and not finished. And the tour guide told us that in Cuba, when it rains, no one works. People don't go to work, she says, when it's raining. So this day in the midst of our tour, it was kind of wet out. So you weren't seeing, you wasn't seeing nobody working. You would see like some people in the community walking, but everyone just looked like they just was impoverished, like they were struggling. Everyone. We went to the cemetery. The cemetery reminded me of what they say how in Louisiana, I think, everything is like above ground. That's how it is in Cuba. So like all of like the tombs, the whatever, it ain't no you going in the ground. It's everything is standing upwards on top of the ground. Everything's on top of the ground. I saw the students, the kids. They wear uniforms to school. Cute, cute little uniforms. Um, I seen some dark black Cubans that looks like me or darker, and then I seen, the Cubans that, brown skin that looks, more like Hispanic, but I seen black Cubans, Cuban students. Cuba has, because they make, they're known for what the cigars as well as their alcohol. So apparently, there's a big issue dealing with alcoholism in Cuba, with the minors, with drinking and driving, because a lot of the kids will drink. And even during our tour, I took pictures of some of the kids. They let us, take pictures of them. And there was one boy who had like a alcohol bottle, like a gin bottle, and he looked like he was probably about 14. So think about, like, you'll see a kid with a Coca-Cola bottle just with the backpack. No, he had a liquor bottle. Yeah. He had a liquor bottle in his uniform, his school uniform. He had a liquor bottle. So they say a lot of teenagers, there's an issue with alcoholism, drinking and driving and all of that, because I don't know what the legal age, if there is one, to drink out there, but there are a lot of kids, when I say kids, like minor, under 18, who are teenagers, still school age, grade school, who drink alcohol, and it's a whole problem. Miss X says, Chic, that's wild. It is. Imagine seeing, I'd never seen anything like it. Like, here, you'll hear about kids drinking, whatever, but they try to hide it, or you got to walk up on them and catch them. Like, these kids were just out and about in public. Like your kids here in America, they were just being kids. And, yeah, they had the liquor, the gin bottles. What else? Cuba is a place, like I said, it's run out of dictatorship. So it's there are social medias, like everything is controlled with what they watch on TV, social media, everything is controlled. College is free. So, like I talk about, you have to be mindful of, like, when you accept freebies, because sometimes in exchange for something being given to you for free, there's other things in return that are required from you. And so, because it's a dictatorship country, the country's like, yo, we're going to make sure you got food on the table. We're going to make sure you can go to school. But in exchange for that, these are, you don't have the freedom of the speech like that. You don't have your freedom isn't like that of the next. But we're going to give you food. We're going to make sure you got shelter, because what I did not see in Cuba was homelessness. I didn't see people who looked to be homeless living on the streets. I did not see that. I did not see that people was living well collectively, but I didn't see where people looked as though they were living on the streets. What I did see was some skinny dogs, some malnourished dogs, because they took us to like this shopping district. And at that time, I still had my fear of dogs. It was before I became a dog owner. I have a dog now, a big dog. So there goes my fear of dogs. But at that time, I didn't have a pet, so I was still fearful of dogs. But everywhere you go, they have like these dogs. Like, wow. Think of, y'all remember Annie, the show Annie and the dogs? And listen, think of Annie's dog. Like, everywhere you go, you just see these dogs and they roaming. And they're skinny. You see their rib cage. Listen, these dogs, skinny. But the dogs are actually being fed. The dogs are fed on a schedule. I say even the dogs on Section 8 EBT. The dogs, every so many hours, the government will have workers that go out and feed the animals. Like I don't know what's the schedule, if it's about every 4 hours, but it's every so many hours the animals, the dogs, are being fed. So I'm telling y'all, these dogs was itty bitty. They was real skinny looking, but the dogs were being fed. It's on the schedule. Remember, the government like, listen, we gonna take care of everybody. You ain't finna damn be able to be on TikTok now, or think you finna be on YouTube just saying what you want to say. Don't be on no chic speak type stuff. But we gonna give you a plate. We gonna give you a plate. Berlin said the people are skinny too. Yes, I wasn't seeing like overweight, obesity. Like, I wasn't seeing that. All of the kids I seen, all of the students, all of them were a healthy weight. None of them. I didn't see, it was not one thickums girl or boy. Like everybody was thin, like a healthy weight. I will say that. The adults, I didn't see anyone who looked visibly overweight. So they did not have that as a problem. When I was in the shopping district, uh, the bathroom, I need to go to the bathroom. Listen, everywhere I go, I got to go to the bathroom. I can do a whole probably channel dealing with bathroom reviews. Because listen, I'm going to check out your bathroom because the way my bladder work. So I needed to use the bathroom. So I found the bathroom. Outside of the bathroom, there was a lady standing out there with stuff to sell. I think toilet paper and stuff. So I just walked right on past her. So I'm like, she thinking like, oh, this bougie bitch, she gonna be back. She gonna be back because she finna get up in there and get her feelings hurt. Y'all, went up in the bathroom, went in the stall, no toilet tissue. I went in every stall, no toilet tissue. Guess who I had to circle back around and holler at? That same woman I passed that was standing outside the bathroom. I had to buy toilet paper from her. That's her hustle. There's no toilet paper in the bathroom. That was her hustle. So remember, I was in the shopping district. That was standing outside the bathroom. I had to buy toilet paper from her. That's her hustle. There's no toilet paper in the bathroom. That was her hustle. So remember, I was in the shopping district. That was standing outside the bathroom. I had to buy toilet paper from her. That's her hustle. There's no toilet paper in the bathroom. That was her hustle. So remember, I was in the shopping district. There's friends. I was able to just eat on the cruise ship where, Berlana, you can't hear me. My sound is out.